A new way to keep your bet alive even if a pick misses. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today.
Must be 18 or older and physically present in Alberta to gamble. Must be 21 or older to use Caesars Sportsbook. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. Please play responsibly.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Oiler insider and Jersey aficionado.
So running in for his second touchdown of the night.
60% talent, 40% Swedish hair cream.
Let's see if it ends on this note. Everybody looking on. It does. And Dylan Cease with his arms raised up to the sky. A masterful performance here at Fenway Park today. A one-hit shutout. The last 6 outs he records are by strikeout. And what an incredible performance by Cease here today in Fenway.
It's all gas, no brakes.
77 yards for the win for Edmonton. Down, kicked. Blanchard does it on the final play of the game. A walk-off winner for Cody Fajardo. Mark Killam and the Edmonton Elks, who improved to 6-1 with this victory at Mosaic Stadium tonight.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, July the 28th. Welcome into the Tom Gazzola Show. The Toronto Blue Jays take the opener in Washington, D.C. Vita Vea suddenly finding himself pining for a new place to ply his trade on the defensive line, and the BC Lions officially heading in a new direction at quarterback ahead of week number 9 in the CFL. Good morning to you and welcome in to the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas, sitting in for Tom this week as he enjoys some very well-deserved time off. And however you are taking in the program today, we do appreciate it. You can watch the show. It's streaming on our YouTube page at YouTube or Sports 1440 AM, on YouTube. You can subscribe. You can click the bell there to get notifications whenever we're going live for all of our programming here on the station. And drop us a like if you're tuning in there this morning as well. TuneIn app, iHeartRadio, and sports1440.ca, all good for your listening options. And then if you're trying to find some combination of video or audio streaming, any of our social channels, Facebook, X, Instagram, and even Twitch are all very good, viable options for you. If you do miss any portion of the show this morning, you can always catch up via podcast after the fact anywhere you get your shows, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Just search the Tom Gazzola Show. You can subscribe there too. Even click the auto download feature. That way they will be there waiting for you inside your library. You never have to miss a second of the show. And please get in on the conversation with us all morning long. 1-833-401-1440. Love to pick your brain, see what's keeping you up on these hot summer nights, even if they are intermittently broken up with some rain showers, some thunderstorms. Off-season thoughts, whether it be around the NHL, the Oilers, or elsewhere, we're happy to field them. The show, as always, is brought to you by Bet365. Canada just hit the biggest home run of the summer. Bet365 is available in Alberta and here to stay. Download the app. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. And yes, we are continuing to roll through some of the dog days, but the Blue Jays continue to keep us occupied, even if not in the fashion we were hoping for, as they take the opener in DC over the Nats last night. And this is a bigger deal, I think, for Washington than it is for Toronto, because I think we've all resigned ourselves to the fact that the Blue Jays are not a playoff team. They are sellers at next week's deadline. But the Nats are very much in the hunt. They pulled off a trade and kind of a player for player that addresses respective needs in the weekend's deal with the Boston Red Sox. But last night, a little bit of an insight into part of what plagues the Nationals in that they don't have the best pitching depth, particularly out of the bullpen, but the Jays managed to rally a few runs. They get a home run from Luis Arias, Miles Straw with a RBI double, scored a run himself. All that towards the 3-2 victory to take the series opener down in D.C. But the headliner story of this game was the return of Max Scherzer on his 42nd birthday and making his 100th career start in that ballpark where he spent a good chunk of his career. Of course, winning a World Series, accomplished pretty well everything there is to accomplish as a member of the Washington Nationals, and got a very warm reception upon his return. Signs, good ovation from the gathered fans inside the ballpark. So a feel-good story for him on that front. The outing, well, a little bit more of a mixed bag. We knew there was going to be a pitch limitation count on him regardless, but he goes just 2 2/3 in the outing, gives up 4 hits, the 1 earned run, struck out 4, which is certainly an encouraging sign in my opinion, but did walk 3, and it did seem command was something that had continued to elude him a little bit throughout the course of those 2 2/3 innings. Got some good cleanup work from the likes of Mason Fluharty, the local product, Albertan product, Adam Mackel came in, did give up a run in 2/3 inning work as well. Spencer Miles, Ty Rogers, Jeff Hoffman, and then Louis Varland for the save. It was a collective effort from the Blue Jays pitching staff to seal this series opening win. So all this to say, what is Max Scherzer's future, specifically with the Blue Jays and on a broader perspective in the major leagues of baseball? Because we saw it in the playoff run last season. And yes, he is another year older. Even more injuries continue to plague him and hamper him at times. We know he's not been readily available for Toronto this year. And when he has been, frankly, he has not been very effective as a starting pitcher. But with one performance and another one potentially on tap before next week's deadline, is there another outing that shows competence that can garner any sort of trade interest from a team, a contender, a buyer, that warrants even the most modest of return? Maybe no return at all. Maybe it's just a matter of the Blue Jays saying, hey, Max, this team's interested in you. We're willing to send you there. It's, they're a contender. They're going into the playoffs. They expect to make the playoffs. Are you interested in joining them? And history tells us Max Scherzer will probably say yes. He lives for the postseason, even if he's not a starter, if he's coming out of the bullpen, if he's there as a little bit of a mentorship role. Maybe he's not even on a playoff roster for a team, but he's around the club, in the dugout, in the clubhouse. I have to think he still holds some sort of value in that regard, if nothing else. So we will continue to pour over that factor and keep our eyes on any other trade activity in the MLB as the deadline looms 6 days away now. Next Monday into the afternoon Eastern time is when that will officially pass. And then we're kind of into the home stretch. Names like Kevin Gausman, Shane Bieber, Dalton Varsho, all top of mind. Jeff Hoffman with another strong outing. Last night, all 3 struck out and he retired the side, did give up 1 hit as well. But encouraging signs from Hoffman as a setup man, a good arm out of the pen, just maybe not in that closer role that the Jays had originally intended to utilize him upon acquiring. And frankly, a role that saw him take them all the way to Game 7 of the World Series. Once again, some valuable playoff experience under his belt, along with all these other guys that I just mentioned that the Jays are certainly shopping and fielding calls on. Will there be a surprise name that Toronto moves on from and makes a big splash in maybe an offer comes across their table where it's simply too good to refuse? Jays fans, I think, are probably cautious on that front. If the right offer comes in for Louis Varland, for Ernie Clement, one of these guys that have shown they're having good seasons, and as a result, their value is tangibly higher than someone who is more easily moved on from, but will not yield as much of a return. Lots of other stuff going on too. NFL training camps fully underway. We'll touch on that as the morning progresses. Commonwealth Games, day number 5 underway. What a day for number 4 for the red and white, with 12 medals yesterday. That's being held in Glasgow, Scotland here. For the next 10 days total, I believe, or a couple weeks anyway, we'll try to check in on that as it progresses here. Of course, the time difference that is ongoing as we speak. But at 7:10, let's say good morning. Welcome in the man on the ones and twos the other side of the board, Donovan Paulson. Donnie, good morning. And you greeted me this morning with some bad news that you once again think you're maybe coming down a little something. And to me, that's starting to beg the question with enough track record. Are you soft?
I have become the human sick bag over the last 3 months.
Don't like that expression.
It is
not one bit.
I don't love saying it, believe me. However, I just can't stop. It's I have no idea what's going on with me over the last 3 months, but this is, I swear to God, it's 3 colds in 4 months, which has never happened to me ever. However, you know what? It's a good morning. It's always a fun morning to fill in here, and maybe we have some breaking news today, unlike yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday not much happening. Pretty slow out there, but we did get I don't know if it's breaking news, but it was determined later yesterday that the BC Lions are going to shake things up, and Chase Bryce will not be under center for them. They're going to go to Caden Salter for their Thursday night game against the Bombers. And in week 8, he came in relief of Bryce, which was his CFL debut. He's just 23 years old. He played college ball at Liberty, 35 games there, full-time starter in his second season. So, there's a track record from south of the border, but that's nothing new, right? We see that all the time. That doesn't necessarily translate to success in the CFL, where we've seen plenty of players struggle to make the change, make the adaptation. And for a young player just kind of still getting his feet wet, he played his last year at Colorado. So, Power 5 school, a little bit more eyes on him, more spotlight, of course, under Dion. So he's a dual threat guy, can use his legs. That always lends itself well to the Canadian game. But the Lions, making a change, they don't want to get this or have this year get away from them in the absence of Nathan Rourke, who, keep in mind, was not put on a 6-game injured list, right? He's just on standby. So that has to be a little encouraging that it's not serious. But the fact they're going another start without him, it's even against the Bombers, who, whether it's Drew Brown or maybe at this point, I don't see them making a change because of the short week on the Thursday turnaround. But the Bombers are all of a sudden scrambling a little bit to make sure their own year doesn't get away from them in what's been a bit of an odd West Division to open things up, because Edmonton sits atop of it. Not sure how many people had predicted that through 7 games, through 8 weeks. Saskatchewan right behind, Bombers holding course, and then the Calgary Stampeders. Every game I watch of the Stamps, and then all of a sudden it's over, and I check their record, I'm a little bit surprised, because when I watch them, I'm like, this is a pretty good team. They're 3-4 through 7 games. Now, defense has been a problem. They've scored 278 points, which is tops in the division and tops in the entirety of the CFL. They've given up 244, which is also tops or worst, if you want to look at it in that perspective, by a pretty wide margin. Next highest scoring team in terms of points against is the Toronto Argonauts, who are 219 compared to the Stampeders 244. So some issues on the defensive side of the ball for Calgary, even if their offense has been quite explosive so far. So Donovan, just back to the opening conversation here around the Jays and Max Scherzer. Would love your thoughts, because you're a known detractor of all things Blue Jays, especially when it's going badly, even sometimes when it's going good. And that's okay. It's fair to be critical. Do you envision a world where a team is interested in bringing in Max Scherzer before next week's deadline? And like I said, I'm not even expecting a return. I can see this as a cash considerations type of a transaction where they just move on from Max Scherzer to a contender. But at the same time, if the Jays are going to be a little bit more shorthanded in post-deadline with a couple starters out the door, are you also entertaining the idea of keeping him? Because, well, frankly, you need an arm in the rotation so long as he were able to stay healthy, of course.
I think it's suck it up, Max. You're staying the rest of the year.
Really?
I don't see who's going to be interested in him? He's 42. Unless the only teams that I would say could have any interest would be teams who have a young starting rotation who's and there's a key guy maybe making his first playoff start. That outside of that, does he really hold any value? I don't think he does. I don't actually see any value in this player outside of just leadership. So, maybe if you're, if you really get to the Max Scherzer of the world, you're pretty desperate and you're probably not going anywhere. So, I also think when you're going to trade Kevin Gausman and you're going to trade Shane Bieber, somebody has to start for this team. You can't just go bullpen start 3 games.
Well, what do you mean? They've been doing it most of the year.
Yeah, I know they have, but they haven't done it.
Hasn't yielded the best success.
Out of 5 game sets, you can't have 3 straight bullpen days, right? So, I might look towards a team. If there was one team that was maybe potentially interested in this, it'd be the Pittsburgh Pirates to me. You got
that desperate to get another arm.
Well, the experience factor. The experience factor is the only reason you'd acquire Max Scherzer, and that's for guys going into their first postseasons, like Paul Skeens, right? Insert the rest of that Pirates rotation because they've all green. Basically just come up over the last couple seasons. So it would be the Pirates or bust. That would be the only team personally that I could really see entertaining it.
Well, we'll have a chance to entertain that thought as well as other things Blue Jays later on in the show. We got a great lineup today. Awesome collection of guests touching on a variety of different topics. We're going to start things off with the CFL and Don Landry from out east. He writes at CFL.ca, a longtime broadcaster across the country. So it'll be fun to check in with Don, get his thoughts heading into week 9 on both the Elks and the surprise of them, but of course, all these other storylines, quarterback injuries and others across the league. At 8 o'clock, Speck will be by live from the lakefront cabin. We'll see what's new with him and get a few off-season musings checked in on as well. At 8:20, Andy Strickland, St. Louis Blues reporter, host, and of course, half of the Cam and Strick podcast down in St. Louis. The Blues, this is a different-looking club. What are their expectations inside a very tough Central Division? Are they content to be competitive? Is it playoffs or bust in the first year with Alex Steen officially at the helm, and the retooled roster we'll dive into with Andy Strickland. In the 9 o'clock hour, Mike Wilner, Toronto Star beat writer and host of the Deep Left Field podcast covering the Blue Jays. He will pop in and dive into all things deadline related. Who's coming, who's going, what are some potential returns for this collection of assets the Blue Jays have available for departure. And then at 9:20, Howard Balzer, Cards Wire, but also Hall of Fame selector. The Hall of Fame game is coming up in just a couple weeks. Of course, Howard, being based in Arizona and covering the Cardinals, very familiar with one player in particular, Larry Fitzgerald, one of the all-time greats. Excited to dive into that with Howard, as well as Cards training camp and things to keep tabs on for, a team that doesn't have the highest expectations this season. We'll go in or out with Donnie at 9:40. 10 o'clock, we'll hear from Cam Tate with Cam and Eggs. And then in 10:20 slot, Connor Halley from The Frenzy and the Jason Greger Show will pop by in studio, and we'll also touch on some potpourri, some CFL, some NFL, whatever else is catching the con man's eye. All that to come, starting with Don Landry right after the break here. It's the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas sitting in this week. Donovan Paulson, Josh Fenwick, both alongside. Watch the show. We're streaming it on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, and it's brought to you by Bet365.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Summer weekends in Alberta mean one thing. Tournament season.
I brought the folding chairs. I brought the sunscreen. I brought the umbrella, just in case.
But who brought the snacks to get through a doubleheader?
I got Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. The ultimate sideline fuel. Whether you're cheering on the kids or watching the pros, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
At GS Construction, people grow with the company. 50 years of experience doesn't live in a binder on a shelf. It lives in our people at every level, passed down on every site. Many of us started with a shovel in our hands and built whole careers here. The work is honest. The company's been around since 1974. So if it all sounds good to you and you want to grow with us, GS Construction is currently looking for experienced pipe layers and topmen. No shovel required. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all sevens. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Everything is going to be okay. Any business, regardless of size, can stumble occasionally. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. If your business is facing financial challenges, our team of chartered insolvency and restructuring professionals have corporate debt recovery solutions that work. Schedule your free Faber focus session at faber.ca today. Chances of a positive outcome increase if you engage Faber sooner rather than later.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in stock, ready to deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Alberta, this one's for you. Around here, trust takes a few winters. It's why players have known Jackpot City since 1998. Home to hundreds of exciting casino games, live dealer action, and new adventures waiting to be discovered. Jackpot City, nothing beats the original. Please play responsibly, 18 years or older, Alberta only.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca.
Hey, Alberta. You can now get your health number and Canadian citizenship marker on your driver's license and ID card. No more flimsy paper health cards or multiple IDs to juggle. Just one card, that's it. To get yours, bring your Alberta health card, proof of Canadian citizenship, or other eligible documentation to the registry to renew your card. Learn more at alberta.ca/onecard. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Everybody.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas on Edmonton's Sports Leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
$7:23. Welcome back into the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tommy today, tomorrow, well, the rest of the week, sending you into the long weekend on a good note, where the Elks are going to take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders Saturday night from Commonwealth Stadium. Get your tickets, because I have a feeling, I have an inkling, it is going to be a packed lower bowl down at Commonwealth Stadium. I've been guilty already of getting a little overzealous here with the Elks' hot start about how quickly the fans would return to the field, to the stands, I should say, and watch the action on the field. But now at this point, the buzz is pretty palpable here in the city. I think there's going to be 30,000 people there. I believe a sellout is around 31,000 for the lower bowl. I think that the Thompson family will be more interested in generating this market for it, which is weird to say for how dire things have been. But rather than open the upper bowl just as like a precaution, I think they'd rather say, no, we're keeping it in the lower bowl. And if you don't get tickets, tough. Get them earlier next time. And then as the season progresses, we're talking Labor Day rematch game when the next huge draw is expected to roll in. Maybe then we could see things open up into the upper deck. But you can also win tickets from us here on Sports 1440. All you got to do is text ELKS, ELKS, to 1-833-401-1440, and that will give you a chance to win a pair of tickets. We're doing it for every home game all year. You can go to our website, Sports 1440, to check out the full schedule. But of course, Rough Riders this Saturday at 5 o'clock seems like the prime opportunity. So just text in ELKS to us and you're automatically entered. You'll get reached out to if your name is selected. Hey, let's talk a little week 9 in the CFL with our first guest of the morning, Don Landry from CFL.ca, a longtime broadcaster here across our great nation. Don, good morning to you. Thanks for working with us through a couple technical difficulties on the line. Great to chat with you. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, nice to talk to you too, Brandon. This is the life in rural Nova Scotia. Sometimes things get a little bit tricky.
No doubt. As I was talking to you last night over text message, hey, I grew up on the family farm out in middle of nowhere, central AB, so I'm very familiar with the struggles that those possess. But glad we could connect with you because, man, we're 8 weeks into the CFL. It's actually kind of a little bit crazy to me how quickly it's flown by to this point. But I wonder if that's part of how many exciting games we've had where they just stacked on top of each other going all the way back to week 1 where, man, here we are. Every team's officially at least a third of the way through their schedule. And we got a couple more dandies last weekend, and I think highlighted by what we saw in Saskatchewan between the Elks and Riders.
Yeah, I think you're right, Brandon. To me, it normally does go by pretty quickly. I find every year I'm looking, at this point in the season going, holy smokes, we're into the meat and potatoes, but especially this year because so many games have been so electric and the finishes have been amazing. So I think there is something to that time flying when you're having fun. And I think CFL fans have been having a lot of fun watching games this year.
Absolutely. Don Landry from CFL.ca, our guest here on the Tom Gazzola Show. So, Don, your piece yesterday coming out of week number 8 was Overreaction Monday, some takes, and your discussion on whether or not it was justifiable to overreact or not. It was excellent. I encourage everyone to go check it out at CFL.ca. But a couple of your topics were focused on the local club here in Edmonton and on the Elks. And the two most prominent players, perhaps, in this Elks resurgence this season that's led him to a 6-1 start. Let's start with the quarterback first, in Cody Fajardo, and your notion of entering the MOP conversation here, which to begin the season, guilty of it myself. Like I would have never really factored as a possibility because of the Justin Rankin element, who we'll touch on more in a moment. But when you go out and have a career day, you're third in the league in passing, you're averaging 300 yards a game, that there's no doubt that he deserves to be in this, even if we are still in the early going of the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, you come off a hot game like that, and so I started to think about that. And then that's basically how I do the column. I go, what's my reaction here? Okay, is it a good one? Is it fair? Is it too soon to see? Or is it an overreaction? And I thought about that. I went, okay, if it's one game, maybe you don't put the guy squarely in the MOP conversation. But the fact of the matter is, I think that Cody Fajardo has played great football all season long. And not his fault that Justin Rankin came out of the gates just storming the barricades. Of course you hand it off to him. Of course you find him in a check down. What Cody proved, though, and it has been proving all season and has been throughout his career, I think, is that he's clutch in clutch situations. And he did it again against the Saskatchewan Roughriders with that final drive. Some of those throws, that throw to TJ Luther on third down, just amazing stuff. So this is a guy who has probably been underrated most of his career, and he gets cast aside, discarded, and then just rises again. And he's done it again in Edmonton. And in the body of his work for this whole season, I think it justifies that. He's right in that conversation. And now it's fluid, right, Brandon? It changes maybe week to week, but he's there and he'll be there for a while because his play is going to stay at a high level. It is. And maybe we're going to be talking about him or Vernon Adams Jr. for the next few weeks, but all it takes is another 180-yard game from Justin Rankin, and the conversation changes again.
No doubt. And with Fajardo, like, and you talk about how he can, cast aside in this underdog mentality that seemed to follow him for a good chunk of his career. And we're seeing that firsthand when he came here, competing with Trey Ford to start, because the team still seems set on trying to make Ford work here. We know it doesn't. Fajardo wins the job out over the course of last, and he's an easy guy to root for when you hear him speak about his approach to the game, his involvement with his teammates, and how he commands a locker room. He's an easy guy to get behind. And then you reunite him with his former Grey Cup winning number one receiver in Austin Mack, who is, I think, someone that the Elks pretty obviously missed last year as a de facto number one guy that you can rely on and go to for the long bombs, for the big plays. It's been pretty cool to see, because to be honest, Don, coming into the season, the receiver group was a big question mark for this team, but a couple other guys, you mentioned TJ Luther, have really emerged, and you pair that with Rankin's ability to the backfield. They've got something cooking on the offensive side of the ball, no doubt.
Oh, they really do. And, Keon Julian Grant's having a nice season as well. And then every once in a while, Brendan O'Leary Orange pops his head up, and he's there as well. But Luther, I think you'll agree, we saw, some goodness to greatness in him last year, sporadically maybe, but this year he's a consistent go-to guy. And the combination of Fajardo to Mack, we know what that's all about. We saw it in Montreal, particularly in 2023. So it's really no surprise at all that they're cooking with gas right now. I mean, the only question would have been is Austin Mack healthy? Is he going to stay healthy? But the fact that these two work so well together, no surprise to anybody. But that whole receiving core is coming together. And I know we're going to talk about Justin Rankin, and I think that it makes it, you keep having games like that, or even you don't even have to have games like that, 500 yards passing, but 350 and spreading it around, that's just going to open up more room for Justin Rankin down the road.
I absolutely agree. As we talk all things CFL heading into week 9 of the season with Don Landry from CFL.ca. You can find his work up there. So with Rankin, another one of your topics in your Overreaction Monday was about, has the Express been derailed after a couple consecutive weeks of, numbers that aren't nearly on par with what we saw out the gate this year. And I think quality of opponent certainly matters here, but you're, I think, in the same camp as certainly myself and many others around Edmonton, where you say, nah, this is just teams honing in, and it's football, right? There's only so many guys in the field. If you're focusing on one thing, other stuff opens up, and the Elks and Jordan Maksimic with his game planning are taking advantage of that right now. It's bound to swing the other way and open things up in the run game a little bit more too.
Well, maybe even just this week. I mean, we'll see how the Saskatchewan Roughriders react to what happened to them last week in Regina, and how much do they change, and how much do they loosen up the interior and the box area, because I think it was fair for a team like them, for any team, to go, okay, this is your main weapon. He can beat you almost single-handedly. We will try and force you to beat us in another way, even though we know that might be gambling a little bit. And Fajardo made them pay. So do they now change their defense to the point where all of a sudden Jordan Maksimic looks at it and says, there's all kinds of room for Justin now. Now we're going back to these little passes. Now we're gonna go with zone reads. We're going to run between the tackles and bounce them outside once in a while, and we think we can do it. So yeah, that's part of the ongoing chess match that is a season from game to game. It'll be interesting simply because it's the same two teams. So how much does Saskatchewan change, and how much does that change the Edmonton offense as the night goes on?
And Don, as much as we're enthralled locally here in the Capital Region with this turnaround of the green and gold, there's plenty of other storylines across the rest of the league. And unfortunately, another one this year have been injuries to starting quarterbacks. The real tough scene with Bo Levi Mitchell going down in Hamilton, and now they are absolutely wallowing in it, and who's going to play quarterback for them week to week. We know Zach Collaros down, Nathan Rourke, going to miss another game here. Now Chad Kelly joins that group too. Of these teams that are now all of a sudden on to second string or even beyond quarterbacks, who in your opinion is the best off and can still stay afloat, whether they're waiting for someone to come back or continue to build reps with the backup guy, and maybe who's in some pretty dire straits here?
Well, I think Toronto is the one that's in the most comfortable position with Nick Arbuckle. That's obvious, isn't it, Brandon? I mean, he's a Grey Cup MVP from 2024. Last year, when he played for the Argos and got sacked about 1 million times and just kept taking punishment, he still had about 4,500 yards passing. He got a little bit of talk for Eastern Division MOP. He wasn't going to be that guy. It was going to be Bo Levi Mitchell. But the fact that, on a 5-win team, he got some chatter tells you just how well he played last year. And so I think Toronto would be best positioned to cruise along, not cruise along, but to stay in games and win their share. At the other end of the spectrum, boy, BC's, it is a big question mark right now, isn't it? We're going to see the young man, Caden Salter. We're going to see more of him this week, I understand, as they go into Winnipeg. He looks like an exciting player, though, doesn't he, Brandon? I know it's just a little bit of a sample, but he looks kind of electric. He's got a real live arm. It looks like he's got escapability. I'm really interested to see what this guy can do. You?
Yeah, a little bit more pedigree there, right? Coming up in first year in the CFL, has made his debut in relief last week, but good career at Liberty, and then goes over to Colorado, where listen, that's a Power 5 program, and had some pretty good success there at times when he did see action. And we know how effective being a dual threat guy can be in the CFL. Your ability to escape and make things happen. Cody Fajardo has been a great example of that going back early in his career, and we're seeing it in Edmonton now too. So I'm right with you. I'm pretty excited for this Thursday night matchup in the Peg. Now, out east, the standings tell us, Don, that the Alouettes are pretty free and clear of everyone. They're 3 wins above both Hamilton and Toronto, and rightfully so. They've been one of the best teams in the league with Davis Alexander taking over starting QB duties. But is it as wide open as the standings would indicate, or is it as close as some of their actual results have been, maybe somewhere in the middle? What say you?
Well, I think Hamilton's going to continue to struggle to try to get into the victory column, at least for the foreseeable future. That's another interesting story that I want to look at, in the next third of the season and onward, is just what Scott Milanovich can get out of Trey Ford. To get back to, your question about backup quarterbacks too, is, we're always so tantalized by watching Trey Ford and what he can do with his natural abilities, but can he grab that next level where he's managing the pocket, making good decisions and good throws. So, we'll see what Hamilton can become with him behind center, or do they have to turn to another quarterback? But I see them having trouble stacking some wins. Toronto might as well. I mean, even though they're finally home after these 7 games to start the season, they've got tough opponents coming up, and they're kind of a weird team to get a real solid vibe on. They're very good in some ways, and in others you kind of shrug your shoulders and go, I don't know, I'm not sure I'm seeing it here. But to make a prediction is tough. Look, we have 2/3 of the season left, but Montreal looks like they're on cruise control. And I think we keep an eye on that, because Jason Moss might be facing that conundrum that the Argos faced a couple of years ago when they ran away with the division, that other teams have faced, and that is, if they are home and cooled out in first, a little after Labor Day or in the middle of September, you got to manage that, right? Heading into the playoffs, because, well, you guys know in Edmonton, it happened in 1989, a 16-2 team lost the West Final, and then the Argos 16-2 a few years ago, they lost the East Final. It's a tough balancing act, and we'll see if Montreal gets to the point where Jason Moss really has to figure that out.
Don Landry, CFL.ca, our guest here on the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tommy this week. So you talk about the Argos and elements of their game that look so good, and others you're hemming and hawing a little bit more. Well, out west here, you have to think the same vein of the Calgary Stampeders, leading the league in points, but also in points against. Like, VA Jr. is everything as advertised for the Stamps team, but defensively, man, goodness, they can't seem to stop a nosebleed at times. What do you make of the Stamps in the early going here?
Which I think that's kind of weird, don't you, Brandon? You look at their defensive personnel. They're pretty stacked, especially up front. On the defensive line, and they have a pretty decent secondary. I think I'm not sure what the problem is there, but that's for for coordinators to figure out. And I guess my job here is, do I think that they can? I think that they can, but I'm not sure exactly what it takes. But as long as Vernon Adams Jr. is slinging it all over the yard and you can score a bunch of points, I guess it's not as big a problem. But I agree with you that they better figure it out, because, well, I don't know. Our defense is going to catch up to the offense this year. Isn't that the $1 million question? Because shouldn't they have by now if they were going to? I don't understand why it's so easy for these offenses, for the most part, to continue on the way they have.
Yeah. And it's so weird, because even just as I said, for our local listeners, the most recent example of that Thursday game between Saskatchewan and Edmonton, I mean, goodness, we see 70 points on the board, but even inside that, there were some really good plays, big moments by each respective defense that came up clutch for their team that ultimately came down to, of course, the final play of the football game. So, I mean, hey, maybe that's just the world we're living in, where with the advantages the offenses continue to be given, they're really seizing them, at least so far this year, because, yeah, that's been an absolute point fest here in the early going of the CFL season. Don, great to catch up with you. Really enjoyed this conversation. Enjoy week number 9 and everything that it's going to entail, and we'll look forward to catching up again as the season progresses.
Thanks, Brandon. Enjoy it, Edmonton. Your team is back.
Beautiful. Don Landry, CFL.ca, longtime broadcaster here in Canada, one of the very, very best. And as I mentioned, his piece from yesterday, Overreaction Monday, 5 hot takes from week 8. Go catch it at CFL.ca. Great read. Couple focuses in on the Elks with both Cody Fajardo and Justin Rankin. When we return, we will dip over to a little bit of hockey talk. We've been kind of slow on the hockey talk lately, and I think that's okay. There's lots of other things to discuss, but this text came in from Jane Victoria regarding some comments made by a few Oilers players at Zach Hyman's golf tournament here yesterday. So we will zip over there, read Jay's text, and dive into that with Donovan and Josh Fenwick as well. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tommy here on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Show's brought to you by Bet365. We're streaming it on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Kickoff is coming August 1st. Elks, Rough Riders at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The prehistoric party is back, presented by Purolator Tackle Hunger. Experience family-friendly fun all game long with the dinosaur-themed contest. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Yeah, it's me again. And if you're sidelined with a sports injury, you already know nothing's more frustrating than being told to just rest. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we get athletes moving sooner with our zero-gravity treadmills. You can run, train, and rebuild strength with up to 80% less body weight, so your injury heals while your confidence comes roaring back. When your sports injury's yelling, whisper back, leadingedgephysio.com, because life shouldn't hurt.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact, because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Greger for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers The Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
This summer, cheer on your favorite teams at Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge. Never a bad seat in the house with tons of big screens. Plus, Sully's Big League menu has it all. Small bites and big bites, game day food and drink features, something for everyone. From the gridiron to the diamond, this is the place to catch all the action all summer long. Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
You're listening to Sports 1440 and watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sports 24/7. We are Sports 1440.
Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for Tommy, 7:45 in Edmonton. We roll in towards the 8 o'clock hour. Thank you very much for being with us. Today's show brought to you by Bet365. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus, T and C's apply, which of course we always know. Gamble responsibly. Now, this text came in, fellas, 1-833-401-1440. You can get in on it with us as well. And it came from our buddy Jay in Victoria. He says, not sure if you caught the interviews yesterday of the Oilers during Hyman's golf tournament. Just wondering what your thoughts were. Well, Jay, I did see the comments, particularly McDavid's, where he had a little comment on both Gavin McKenna, and I kind of liked it. He's like, he's going to have it pretty tough in Toronto. I thought that was pretty good. And maybe I don't know if it's an intentional dig, but we know it to be true, right? Number 1 overall pick, Canadian kid. Leafs coming off just a terrible season. People are looking at him like the savior, like he is Christ himself reborn. Not indifferent from how Edmontonians looked at Connor McDavid. But let's be clear. Gavin McKenna is not Connor McDavid. He's a good player, very worthy of being selected first overall, but I don't see him having that same level of impact down the road, especially not in year 1, because frankly, as many changes as Toronto made, I'm not really sure they're that much better of a team. Just start there. But to, I think, more of your point, Jay, about McDavid's comments around Mike Babcock. I believe Hyman was on 1050 in Toronto, the TSN station, talking about Babcock and, his experience with him in the past as well. I'll say this, it's encouraging because we were led to believe through the hiring process on Mike Babcock that these players were consulted, conferred with on this direction of the team. Right? And what we were told by Stan Bowman, it's the round head, got me, that they were all on board with it. They encouraged it. They wanted to be pushed more. Now that creates its own series of question marks for me about players at this stage of their careers that need to be pushed still, but I digress. My comment on it specifically is, what do you expect them to say? He's been hired. He's the coach. Do you think that right before you tee off at a charity golf tournament, Connor McDavid or any other member of the Oilers is going to get in front of the camera and microphone and say, I'm nervous about training camp. Babs is going to work us over the coals. I'm scared about what he might do to this team. Of course not. Nobody's going to say that, regardless of sport. So I don't put a ton of stock into it because I think it's, for lack of a better term here, maybe a little bit of lip service. You're going to back up your coach. He hasn't even coached a game for the team yet. You're not gonna bury him or try and dog him, undermine him before you even get to training camp. So that would be my comment on that. Donovan, am I being a little too casual with it? Do you think there's more to these words of encouragement and backing from some of the Oilers leaders and best players?
No, I'm right with you. These mean absolutely nothing. This is the most obvious PR stuff ever, right? Look at this is basically PR 101. You go to the star players, you ask them, what their opinions are on the new guy, and of course they're going to say, we support the new guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically all this was what are they going to say? I'm a little, like you just said, I'm a little scared. I'm a little worried. Maybe he's not going to, maybe he's going to be mean. They have to back the guy. And of course, when it's the big boys, these are, they know these questions are coming. They're prepared for these questions. I put zero stock into any of it yesterday. And frankly, I'll put no stock into it when it gets to training camp either, because people are going to get asked all season. It's going to be a distraction, no question. It's just, you're going to, if there was ever a player who's going to give you an honest answer, It would have been, one of the guys going out the door because they didn't like the new coach, right? Like that's the only guys you'd get an honest answer from.
And to be honest, I'm not even sure you would there because it's just like, unfortunately, it's hockey culture.
Yeah.
You keep things to yourself, right? You just give the cliche. And we're seeing a little bit more of a deviation from that for sure. But I still think it's pretty entrenched. And there's just some things that I don't think will change. And this is kind of one of them where it's you give the cookie cutter answer, especially in the off season. So here's, and then a text from Northside Lou kind of pushes back a little bit on what Donovan and I are saying. He says, or you can accept what the players say at face value. No, Lou, I'm not saying that they're lying, right? I'm not accusing them of just going out there and putting on a brave face and holding back the tears for the sake of the team and the organization. I'm not saying that at all. There's a very good chance they genuinely feel this way. But my point is, even if they didn't, would they say it? I don't think so. And at this point, we're kind of past all the hoopla around the run-up to his name being rumored, Babcock actually getting hurt. We're past all that. He's the coach. And barring something absolutely insane akin to, what he's previously done, a la Columbus, he's going to be the coach on opening night. So there's just no benefit to going at it from that approach if you're one of the players, right? You're excited. You want to get back to work. You're interested to see what he brings to the table, what changes he makes. It's all good. It doesn't matter if he was Mike Babcock or if he was a guy promoted from, U18 AAA here in Edmonton.
Or if he was Brandon Douglas.
I've got some coaching experience. And on the baseball front, I've got a lot of coaching experience this summer, as I've had to demote myself to that role due to my inability to play, unfortunately. So,
I will just jump back in here, sorry, and say, yeah, I am taking what they say at face value, but I don't care. I don't know why people care. They're just telling you exactly what they're being, they're telling what they've said all along. No? It's
so
the exact same message as it was a month ago. It's just now you're hearing it from their faces.
Yeah, at a golf tournament.
At a golf tournament.
And we're so starved for some Oilers news that we kind of latch to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so this text from Doug Jones. I'll read this. You put zero stock in what they say right now. Do you honestly think that this hiring happened without input from our star players? If you do, then there's a reason. I put zero stocking what you guys are saying. And I've already changed the channel. This is embarrassing conversation. Doug, were you even listening? We said that. We said the players backed it up. They okayed it. They greenlit it. My point is that if it was different, and I'm a big criticizer of the if game, and I'm playing it right now, so condemn me all you want, they wouldn't say it either way. They're going to be positive. The season hasn't started yet. We're in the middle of the summer. So that is what it is. And then Hammer, you don't care, but keep talking about it. Never said I don't care.
I did.
Oh.
I said I don't care because I've heard enough Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl press conferences to know what their shtick is, and they're never. You could have the worst goaltending performance in the world, and Connor McDavid's not going to come out and say our goalie sucked tonight. I hate this guy. Yada yada yada. That's just it's PR. It's just I've seen enough press conferences to know I'm watching. This is just it's the most summer press conference with a new coach ever.
We'll close it on this. The follow-up from the original question, which was from Jay. It said, excellent thoughts. I'm honestly at the point where the story is dead. Why even bother asking these guys these questions anymore? Which, Jay, I'm kind of there with you. You get the chance to chat to Connor McDavid for a few minutes. I was more interested in his answer about the Gavin McKenna question.
So was I.
So that's there. And so we'll move on from that, but stick in the same location. There were also some videos of both McDavid and Draisaitl off the tee. Donnie, what'd you make of their swings?
I'll be honest.
Would you grade them?
I actually did not see their swings.
Oh my
God. Hand up, my bad. However,
embarrassing.
What did you make of their swings?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I mean, they're athletic guys. It's not like
better than me, I'm sure.
It's not like they're gonna not have athletic swings. Like that'd be pretty embarrassing.
The shots are from the side, so we get like a good look at the swing, but we don't actually know how the shot went. We have no idea if he shanked, like tipped the huge swooping slice like I'm very prone to doing myself, or if they absolutely nailed it down the middle. We don't know. Use your imagination.
Unlike one of my dear friends at a certain other location who doesn't have an athletic swing whatsoever.
Zach?
Yeah.
Oh.
Zach, the least athletic golf swing I've ever seen.
Did he play any sports growing up?
Yeah, he played hockey.
Okay.
You wouldn't know it watching his golf swing.
I don't know how much correlation there is.
It's like full. I'm talking like full
Slurpee
on
Sean says
grandpa.
Connors was awful. I don't know if it was awful. I don't think he's going to be on the PGA Tour anytime soon. But hey, I think he's got a few other skill sets that suit him a little bit better. Top of the hour, Mark Spector will be with us. I'm not sure we'll touch on this. We can touch on a few other hockey-related topics with Spec, but as several texts continue to come in, move on already, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, listen, I don't feel a need to address it. There's a text message, wanted to touch, and we can move on. 8:20, Andy Strickland from St. Louis covers the Blues. Cam and Strick podcast, he'll pop by. We'll check in on St. Louis's offseason. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll double dip with some Blue Jays talk and some Cardinals talk. St. Louis, notwithstanding. Arizona variety, NFL training camps underway. Before all that, Sports 1440 update brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities specializing in underground utilities like power, gas, telecommunication, and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. Here is Donovan Paulson.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
On the diamond from last night, the Jays edging out the Nats 3-2. The Marlins snapped their 12-game losing streak, winning 8-7 against the Phillies after their manager compared himself to Odysseus. The Orioles took down the Tigers 8-5. The Pirates snuck past the D-backs in extras. The Red Sox beat the A's via grand slam, and the Yankees topped the White Sox 9-5. In a little bit of football news, the Vikings are signing former All-Pro safety Jamal Adams, and Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Buccaneers. Coming up right after the break, we've got Sportsnet's Mark Spector. I'm Donovan Paulson. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR. It's a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
It's dollar drink summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
The Brick's 55th birthday bash continues with big savings store-wide. Save on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Plus, take 55 months to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses, or 36 months on appliances and electronics on approved credit. Find up to 30% off bedroom packages, up to 40% off select mattresses, and don't forget, you could be one of 275 winners with over $155,000 in prizes to be won. Hurry in. The birthday bash ends July 29th at the Brick. Saving you more.
Love Pro Wrestling. It's the only place you'll find lumberjacks, short kings, mad lads, and a high-flying goose. LPW 50, no regrets, hits the Rec Room South Edmonton Comet Friday, July 31st. See LPW Grand Champion T.Y. Jackson face his toughest challenge. God's gift to wrestling, MRB. Whether it's a family outing, date night, or drinks with friends, check out Edmonton's wildest party at Love Pro Wrestling. Tickets available now at tixart.com/Love Wrestling.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. Then a volunteer gave me a medal. But I don't want participation trophies, unless they're from Bet365. With their daily prize matcher game, I win by matching gold coins, cherries, and more. Take that, Denim Man. Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit av.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
The Tom Gazzola Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
Eight o'clock. Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for Tommy G this week, making our way along. Nice Tuesday morning. Supposed to be a little gloomier today. I think some more rain, chances of it into this afternoon and evening after another weird one just buzzed through yesterday, right as I was leaving the studio. Donovan and I stood under the overhang outside the mall here for a few minutes, thinking, like, is this going to let up, or are we just going to get doused making the trek out to our vehicles, where for maybe the first time ever, I regretted parking so far away from the main doors, despite being the first one at the mall each morning. So lessons learned. Enjoy it. Get out and enjoy some weather if you are able to. Let's get to On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. In July, you pay what they pay. You can get employee pricing all month long on every car, truck, or SUV. Stop in, see the great selection at NorthgateGM.com. We welcome in Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Spec, good morning. Did you catch a little piece of that little rainstorm that buzzed through again yesterday?
Yeah, I'm quite interested in your parking strategy. So you're the first one at the mall at like 6:30, but you don't park right by the door. You park far away from the door. Now, explain to us this strategy.
So this weirdly, and don't ask me to justify it. I'll explain it, but I can't justify it because it's just entrenched in my brain. When I was growing up, and one of our neighbors, they had season tickets to the Red Deer Rebels at the Centrium. And so I would get invited, like when his son was my age in my class, we were really good buddies. I'd go with him all the time. And Richard Johnson, just a legend. He would park at the Centrium as far away as possible, essentially, in that giant Western Underground parking lot, with, I think, the understanding of easier to get in and out, maybe a quicker departure to one of the exit gates when you're leaving at the end of the game or something. I don't know, but that just stuck with me. So now when I go places, whether it's to the grocery store, here at the mall, the entire parking lot could be empty, Spec. And I'll still take somewhere away from where everyone else is parked, just off on my own, free and clear. No problem opening my doors to load my groceries or whatever the case. And I'm on my way.
Well, that's sounds like you're turning into an old man who does things inexplicably because he's just always done it that way. So welcome to aged times.
Right. So
next thing you'll be getting some young person to program your cell phone. When the TV stops working, you're going to have to call the neighbor's kid to get it going again.
Well, I don't look forward to that because I've already been experiencing that on the youth side of it. I'm still like, that's fleeting, but I'm still there. I mean, keep in mind, I worked in here with Kevin Carius for the better part of 3 years, where anything technology based was well beyond his vast knowledge and experience. So do you what are yours then, Spec? You're welcoming me into this club. I would never accuse you of being in that demographic, but if you're going to admit it, what are some of those habits that you have that maybe show your vintage?
That's an excellent question. I would say that actually, at the lake, I got these fire sticks that we use for TV, and that's kept me quite young because I've actually figured them all out and mastered them, and that part's been good. I'm not tell me to set a new picture. Like the picture on my cell phone is always like 3 years old until my wife grabs it and Shelka puts something modern up there. So that's something that like I got no time or inclination for. What else wouldn't I be good at? That's a good question. It'd be a good poll among the young Oilers, like, how old do you think the sports writer really is?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that could be
every
that'd
once
be
in a
pretty
while I do
humbling
let
pretty
it slip.
quickly, I think. Yeah.
Oh man, like my youngest daughter is 25 years old, so she's older than Ike Howard and Matt Savoy.
Mm.
So every
Yeah.
once in a while I gotta admit, like I'm sitting in a scrum and there's a player and he's saying something that I've done a lot of interviews, man. So he's playing something I could tell it's not going to land real well, what he's saying, and he's blabbing away, and a little voice comes in my head thinking, oh, if I was his dad, I'd be telling him to not say that. But that's
how
they
she
sent
goes.
me there to cover the team, not to parent them, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet with us here on the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tom this morning. So I'll tie a similar sentiment, but back to sports spec with a question about baseball. And, the Jays, we talked about this yesterday and even last week. We know where they're at. They're not necessarily appointment viewing each night right now as they were a year ago. But you're a Cubbies fan. You're a baseball fan. Do you still tune in to just a random game that's maybe Sportsnet's picked up on an afternoon? Like
for sure. Yeah, I'm a baseball guy.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like particularly the Cubs. Like I've got MLB. So
okay.
I'll always watch that. I was watching a good chunk of the Cubs game last night. They won in St. Louis. I was amazed. The crowd of St. Louis, what happened in St. Louis. Usually it was that team. That's a legendary team. And with the Cubs in town, it always sells out. And there was like thousands of empty seats. So that was weird. I know it was Monday, but come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll pick up some ball here and there. I like to watch San Francisco because Johnny Miller calls their games.
Oh, okay.
And he's got such a great voice. So I don't mind that. I don't mind tuning into some random game just to hear who's calling it and how they're calling it, just to hear a different voice once in a while. It's kind of fun.
Well, so here's one for you. The Philadelphia Phillies, their color analyst is famous for some of his unique comments. John Kruk, he makes some weird analogies, goes on these tangents, as baseball broadcasters often do in some of the doldrum days of a season. But the Phillies, they lost last night to the Marlins, who snapped their 12-game losing streak in the process, all right? Now, I don't know if you're a big movie guy, Spec, but the Marlins manager compared this 12-game losing skid to Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, the current blockbuster across all of our theaters the world over. I'm just going to read you the quote here. I was going to read you the quote, and this is via ESPN. I felt a bit like Odysseus, like I'm away from home for 10 years. At some point, I'm going to return home. I don't know what baseball got I infuriated, but it's where we're at. So today is an opportunity. And that was after snapping their 12-game losing streak, which, hey, credit to the Marlins. I would have assumed that previously they had a 12-game losing streak in their franchise history. They had not. This was a new franchise record. So in all their down years, I figured they would have cracked that margin at least once.
It's crazy. Like if you lose 12 games in a row in football, it's like 3 months. You can lose 12 games in a row in baseball in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It can be a really bad 2 weeks and with lots of bad luck. And you know what? They could still go like 8-12 this month. Right?
Well, and how you talking about your
I like
Cubbies,
the movie quote.
Your Cubbies, before it was even June, they'd already had like 2 10-game win streaks and 2 10-game losing streaks back at the start of the year.
Yeah, they're all over the map here. I think they're a good-looking wild card team. What are they, 6 back in their division?
Yeah.
I don't think they're catching Milwaukee, but I think they're relatively into the wild card race. So, you know what? If ever there was a sport where you just need a chip and a chair in October, man, it's baseball.
and hey, the Cubs, like, they might very well have the NL MVP now with Pete Crow Armstrong after Shohei Ohtani's not going to be taking on pitching duties for at least the foreseeable future, maybe the rest of the regular season. Maybe takes him back in a few people's books, and PCA is having himself a whale of a campaign following up on a very good first half of last season anyway. So, Spec, I did want to touch on some hockey stuff with you, just some general off-season banter here as we kind of play our way through, and specifically the Pacific Division. Now, we've seen quite a few changes in this offseason with a number of these clubs. Like, we know where Vancouver's at, brand new regime. They're starting from the bottom here. They drafted 3rd overall. They got some pieces that maybe they'll be parting out as the year progresses. Calgary, not indifferent, right? Younger club, moving in a new direction. But down in California, when we're talking Sharks, Ducks, and Kings, they're kind of trending in different directions for me, with LA clinging on, holding on to an area of relevance and trying to be a contender. And then the Ducks and Sharks on the rise, but Anaheim with a brutal offseason so far. So in California specifically, how are you kind of sizing up these 3 clubs heading into the year and where they might stack up against, say, the Oilers and Vegas as Pacific Division contenders?
Yeah, I think the division is certainly, I think there's a lot of, it's not a good division overall.
Yeah.
The question for me is San Jose and Anaheim. I feel like Anaheim, they had a great year last year. They played a couple playoff rounds. I remember when the Oilers did this in 17 and we thought, okay, here they come. The team's going to be a playoff team every year now.
Yeah.
And they missed the playoffs for the next 2 seasons with McDavid and Draisaitl. So, good young teams never ascend in a straight line. It's always a bit of a, like a graph, right? Up and down. So I don't know that. And after the summer Anaheim's had, I'm not positive that I'm predicting that they're just a for sure playoff team again. There's a really good team there. They're gonna be great. I think they've done everything right. Sure, they had a rough summer, but I'm not sure this year. It could be. Let's see how they do. But they're probably due to fall back a little. They were really good last year. And San Jose they didn't have the success that Anaheim had. They're probably due for one of those breakout years. So, I wouldn't be surprised if San Jose finished ahead of Anaheim, frankly.
And so do you think
I think San Jose is ready.
Do you think that'd be as the 3rd place team in the Pacific with do you, I guess that kind of goes hand in hand. Do you still see Vegas and Edmonton as the top 2 teams in the division and duking it out for the title?
Yeah, I can't not see that, right?
Yeah.
I can't not see a team that went to the Cup last year, a team that went to the Cup the 2 years before and is coming back really hungry and had a pretty good summer. I would say the Oilers, are they? I don't know if they're tons and tons better than they were last year, but they're certainly different. They've added some things. They moved Nurse. They're hungry as heck. They got a head coach with a ton to prove. They're not. The Oilers are a playoff team all day in the Pacific, 1 or 2, probably 1 in my eyes. Vegas isn't going anywhere yet. So yeah, I'm with you. It's Edmonton and Vegas 1, 2, and the other guys fighting it out for 3 and hopefully 4. But I think there's a ton of free points in Vancouver and Calgary this year. Neither of those teams have any expectations. The division isn't very good, let's face it. And the Kings are the Kings. They're always tough to beat at home. They'll steal their points, but I don't see them as a playoff team this year. Do you?
No, I don't, because when you look at, I can appreciate some of the moves Ken Holland made, but they were also very Ken Holland-like, if you know what I mean, where it's just more savvy veterans and plugging in, and all of a sudden you don't have Anze Kopitar anymore, who, yes, he was an older player, but still a pretty effective one and still your number 1 centerman. So now you're asking Quentin Byfield to take a big step forward and then having everything else fill in underneath him if he's able to take a step forward. Former number 2 overall pick has been flirting with it for a couple of years. So I think the Kings will be a bubble team. And I'll be honest with you, Spec, I'm not sold on Vegas being quite the powerhouse that they were last year anyway. They're the exact same team minus their leading goal scorer in Pavel Dorofeyev, because they move him out and use that money to just bring back Rasmus Andersson and kind of plug in some holes on the perimeter of their roster, which they were a really good team last year, go to the Cup final, but my goodness, you just lost your 40 goal man.
No, that's fair. I mean, he was a massive, giant part of their power play. They've still got some good players and guys in their prime, and Eichel and Mitch Marner, for sure. But, like Mark Stone, he was good again when it counted last year. Like, give Mark Stone credit, man. I got all day for Mark Stone, but he fits the mold of an old guy. How old is he here? I got him in front of me. He's 34, but with that back, he fits the mold of a guy you kind of got to bring through the regular season a little bit before he's going to help you in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Thomas Hertl has been, for a guy that we thought was a great pickup, he hasn't been very effective for Vegas.
No,
hasn't been very effective. I think they're going to have William Karlsson this year, so that makes them better because they didn't have much of them last year. I don't mind their team. They got a good team, and they're in a lousy division. So I think they're a playoff team all day long. But I'll say this, and someone can look this up, but over the last 3 years in regular season meetings, the Oilers have owned them. Right?
Yes.
Edmonton's beaten Vegas for fun the last 2-3 years. So I know the Oilers don't fear Vegas when they go down there. They win way more than they lose in that Vegas rink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does shape up as an interesting, if uninspiring, division battle, I think, for sure.
Yeah, it's not a great division, but whatever.
That's kind of the cyclical nature, right? How many years did we talk about the old Southeast division and how Washington won it by 60 points each year when the red wagon was rolling with Ovechkin and Semin and Mike Green and company? So it's cyclical. That's just how it goes.
I do get a little. I mean, people don't. Right. This is a big picture conversation that people bring into a small picture problem. When I half 3/4 of the way through last year, when everyone was talking about, the Pacific stinks and the Atlantic is so good, and I'm like, well, so yeah, you're right this year, but that's a big picture thing. Yeah. Not long ago, there was 4 teams in that Florida's in the Atlantic, right? There was 4 teams in there on a rebuild: Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo. 4 teams in your division. Like, how good was that division then? It was garbage. But so now it's the other way around a little bit because there's a couple rebuilds going on out here. Like, it's to me, it's a big picture conversation that the smart analytics guys like to turn into a 5-minute window, and it gets a little tiresome. Like, figure it out, buddy.
Yeah. Spec, good stuff. We will chat with you tomorrow morning. Fun to take a few different detours on our conversation today. Have a good afternoon out on the lake, on the deck, and we'll yak at you tomorrow.
Well,
Mark,
all right, stay out of the rain, buddy.
Yeah, do my best. Mark Spector, Rogers Sportsnet, and On the Mark, powered by Northgate. This truck's for you. When we come back, we will continue some hockey talk, but down in the Show Me State, St. Louis, Missouri. We'll check in with Andy Strickland from the Cam and Strick podcast, St. Louis Blues host and reporter covering the team as our headliner of the day. All that and lots more to come here on the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick, Donovan Paulson, all in studio. Watch the show. It's streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. It's brought to you by Bet365.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. Then a volunteer gave me a medal. But I don't want participation trophies, unless they're from Bet365. With their daily prize matcher game, I win by matching gold coins, cherries, and more. Take that, Denim Man. Thanks, Bet365.
Must be 18 or older. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. T's and C's apply.
It's time to hit the greens. Elevate your golf game with Country Club Tour Golf Academy. No matter your experience, our PGA of Canada teaching pros are here to help. Enjoy lessons year-round between our 7 CCT golf courses and 2 state-of-the-art indoor facilities. Choose the location convenient for you. We offer private lessons, group lessons, expert club fittings, and junior cams. Visit our website to learn more and get ready to take your game to the next level. Booking is easy. Go to countryclubtour.com/golf academy and schedule your lesson today. It's the hard jobs that take know-how, expertise, and the right experience. And that's why, time and time again, GS Construction gets the call when it comes to the hard jobs. Underground projects that are genuinely difficult, like deep installs, tough ground conditions, or tight urban sites. So remember, when it's a hard job, the list gets short, and GS Construction is on it. Want to tackle the hard jobs? We're looking for experienced pipe layers and topmen. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Hurry in for hot summer savings at Wolf GMC Buick. Take advantage of 0% purchase financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 pickups. 0% purchase financing for 36 months on select new 2026 Sierra 2500 Denali and Denali Ultimate models. Plus, huge cash savings on GMC Sierra heavy-duty trucks. And ask about the $1,000 truck trade-in bonus and low-rate lease offers. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think, "Wow, great hair transplant." I want them to think,
"Wow, great hair."
Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Turn up the volume for a night of rock classics with Jersey Boulevard, the tribute to Bon Jovi and Journey, live November 7th at Pure Casino Yellowhead's Pearl Showroom. Feel the energy of legendary hits like Living on a Prayer and Don't Stop Believing. Performed with powerhouse vocals and authentic stage presence. Tickets from just $32.50. Get yours now at Ticketmaster. Don't miss Jersey Boulevard, the tribute to Bon Jovi and Journey, November 7th at Pure Casino. Pure entertainment, pure action, and pure imagination.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Hey, Alberta. You can now get your health number and Canadian citizenship marker on your driver's license and ID card. No more flimsy paper health cards or multiple IDs to juggle. Just one card, that's it. To get yours, bring your Alberta health card, proof of Canadian citizenship, or other eligible documentation to the registry to renew your card. Learn more at alberta.ca/onecard. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Your game, your station. Sports 1440.
And watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
$8:24. Welcome back into the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brennan Douglas in for Tommy G. Josh Fenwick, Donovan Paulson alongside as well. We're going to catch up with Andy Strickland in about 20 minutes time. He just had something crop up, so we're going to push that to the 8:40 break, and we will chat some Blues with Andy at that time as our headliner of the day. In the meantime, we can dip in on the text line. 1-833-401-1440 is how you can get a hold of us. Your thoughts on really anything we're busting into this morning. And I want to go to this one. This came back from the first segment of the day, and I would love Josh and Donovan's opinions on it too. My point about the situation at Commonwealth comes Saturday afternoon. I do not think the upper bowl will get opened for this game. I think that they will prefer to sell out the lower bowl and, in a way, by association, create a little more demand and hype around the team. Not Fred, and this is totally warranted. Like, it's there are a plethora of avenues to explore this discussion. Not Fred texted in and said, I totally disagree. That would be a horrible PR move. If they want 30,000 or more, they need to open up part of the upper deck. All they need to do is open up 5 sections on the east side, halfway up, that it's no other seating, and you will see more people come to the game. By myself, and don't want to sit at the ends in the lower bowl. I'd rather sit in the middle in the upper bowl to have a better view. That's where my season tickets used to be. That's great about the buzz and selling out of the bottom bowl, but this isn't BC. This is Edmonton, where probably fans, supposed to say there were fans show up. Well, not Fred. The answer to that question, the last part of it, is a resounding no. It hasn't been that way for many seasons consecutive. The people have not shown up, with very few exceptions. Labor Day, rematch game, always a must-come event, right? And was that last year at the Labor Day rematch we saw some upper bowl, a little bit of the upper bowl get opened up, right?
That is correct.
Because Eddie Steele
himself,
himself snuck up there even he wasn't supposed to be. And this is kind of to my point, not Fred. If you open up even just a couple sections of the upper bowl for this Saturday's game, I could see a world where then, and it would depend on how it's being manned, the ushers and et cetera staff, more people flocking back up there. And now you want, like, if you're only going to have 32,000 people, 31,000 of them technically fit in the lower bowl, but now you're taking a couple thousand and pulling them out and moving them up to the top deck. Well, now the lower bowl looks less full again, which is, we know it watching the games on TV, right? If you're ever just watching the broadcast, it looks poor. The more spread out it is. I think the team is better suited. And I understand, like, literally you're selling more tickets. It's more money. I get all that. You know, follow me here. But I think that they're more inclined to get everyone packed in to that lower bowl and make it look genuine sellout like. Josh, Donovan, are you aligned with me here? Do you think not Fred's got the better points on how to approach this? And this is all with the understanding or hope that there is going to be 30 to 31,000 plus people there.
Yeah. I'm sort of right in the middle of you guys.
Of course you are. Fence sitter.
Yeah. Just do really well. You just got to put the post in your mouth. Anyways, sell out the lower bowl first. And if it's like tomorrow and the game's sold out, then open the upper bowl.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like rocket science to me, because that is creating supply and demand. You can go, okay, we're opening up 3 sections on both sides, 3 on the east side, 3 on the west side. And then, well, if those sell out by Thursday or whatever, then it's like, okay, well, now we can start packing it in and just keep it going. But the thought process should be sell out the lower bowl first. And then if it is like, if you like, not saying, oh, it's sold out 5 hours to game time or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's sold out a couple days before, you can sort of just be like, we do have the ability.
The demand is there, because then you still, because on a long weekend, if the weather is nice, right, you still want to take advantage of some walk-up crowd. So if you're down to your, like I said, if it's sold out the day previous, couple days previous for sure, then I am absolutely more inclined to what you and not Fred are discussing. But if it's like, there's still 1,000, maybe a couple thousand or so tickets remaining for just lower bowl by like Friday night, Saturday morning, I'm not like, I just don't see the motivation to all of a sudden be like, oh, if you want, you can actually go sit up there too.
Yeah, I'm right there. with you on that.
Donnie, where do you land here?
Yeah, I think the smart way is just like I can't say it better than Josh did, but it's create the supply and demand, worry about selling out the lower bowl first, and then go from there.
It's simply basic economics.
It is.
Well, I don't know if you know this, guys.
You were in
I
econ.
majored in economics during my time at the University of Alberta.
Fortunately, you're a dropout.
Not saying that I'm an expert on it, but I took a lot of classes. Cody texting in. I think, just jumped up again. Sorry. I think Duke is right. Maybe keep it closed, sell out a couple games, then open it up for the Labor Day rematch and see how much you can pack that place. Simple supply. And he says command. I think he means demand, but both apply. Both are applicable. So I no harm done there, Cody. And that's just kind of where I'm thinking, like, if all of us, like, it is a little bit of the buzz. And the Delta Valley Jeff followed up and says, worrying about the optics and how the stadium visually looks is why the CFL has lost the plot, boys. Businesses that live and die by how things look on the surface all fail in the end. Well, you're right there, Jeff, but this isn't purely about the optics. It's also about the buzz. And as Cody said, he says a trailer park reference, supply and command. Excellent. Thank you, Cody. Love trailer park, boys. Like, by creating the market for it, when all of a sudden, if there are the fringe people saying, I'd love to go, you check and it's sold out, you're that much more motivated to want to go to the next one. And so when you don't have the draw of Saskatchewan filling, what do we say? Like, how many people come? 5,000, 10,000? I think it probably depends a little bit, but several thousand, let's just put a broad term on it. Without their support for the next home game, which is against Toronto on August 15th, so it's going to be coming off a bye too. I just think, I think it's the better way to go from a business operation standpoint, with the exception, like Josh and not Fred said, that and Donovan added on it too. Like, if it's sold out by tomorrow and you've still got 4 days to game time, I'm absolutely open to other options here. But once again, I'm trying to temper myself because I was the first one in line, and then also first one in line of right hand up guilty of being overzealous about how quickly people would flock back. Now, there was 20,000 announced. I thought just under 20,000 last home game, excuse me.
Yeah.
And that's great. It was a big step in the right direction. Now let's take another step, but let's not get over our skis and all of a sudden open up the top decks where you're saying, yeah, go up there and sit if you want, and then the lower bowl is empty. And that's where the visual thing comes into it, even if the total number of people there is still going to be the same. Like, if it's still only going to be 30,000 people, but now they're spread out over even just a handful of sections up top, that's where I think the visual part plays a role, and the optics. And Fred's text, he said that's where season seats used to be. There are a lot of people in that same boat.
Yeah,
they were really,
seats were section double K.
They were really frustrated when that decision came from the organization. Even if you were frustrated by it, can you understand that it was the right thing to do, though? Now, maybe how the organization at that time reallocated those people's season seats and where they put them as replacement wasn't handled the right way, and as a result lost some. You won't hear any argument from me. But I do think it was the right decision at the time by the team. And now if we start to build back up, I'm 100% in on come Labor Day rematch game. Man, could we see 40,000 people here? That would be awesome. But got to take baby steps. We have to take baby steps. King of Fort Nasty texting in 1-833-414-1440. Couple this morning. Let's go back to his earlier one, to Donovan's many struggles in life. Are we at all surprised that the exec will not be taking a sick day? Top dogs don't call in sick. Live and learn, Fenny. Mind your P's and Q's. Well, interesting idea, King, because most people in here would actually prefer if Donovan did not come in when he was sick. I'm not going to name names. Carl Halley or Declan Kruger. But there's reason why. We're living in a world now, post-pandemic, where I think it is more acceptable to stay home sick. Donovan, I'm glad you're here. But if you don't think that when Connor Halley catches wind of these sniffles, he's not greasing that board down with a Lysol wipe once you depart this studio, you're silly.
I'm gonna grease it down myself, buddy. I've had enough of these things now, and I've caught enough of them from Connor Halley himself to the point where as soon as there is word of an illness or I have the illness myself, there is the Lysol wipes around the corner. These puppies are going to be in the studio right as the clock hits 10:59 on this show. There will be Lysol wipes, and this thing will all be wiped down. It's I've never been a sick day guy. I know you're in the same vein as I am.
I just don't get sick. There's a difference.
Well,
you're habitually sick.
I always have been of the mind of just suck it up and get through it.
Aren't you working on the frenzy? Why would you wipe the board down at 10:59?
Well, whatever.
I thought he said 11:59.
I might have said 10:59, but I meant 11:59.
All right, well, clock's not our strong suit in here. That's okay.
Just like decades aren't a strong suit from yesterday.
Yes, nothing, sir. Nothing. Wow, shocker! This show, no strong suits.
We're good at math and numbers.
That's definitely not true.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and disagree with you there.
Did you not catch the hint of? We're also good at understanding sarcasm.
King followed up with another text. This one more in my direction, Donovan. So rest easy. Duke, you can't go to the game. Don't you got swaths to rake? Well, good point, King of Fort Nasty. Yeah, it is. It's hay season, silage season, even for a lot of people out there getting some crop knocked down, baled up, chopped up, put in the pit. Listen, I do what I can, but I also have obligations. And when it comes to the local football team that we cover all summer, yeah, that's. I'll probably head with the long weekend. I think I'm going home Sunday. I'm going to watch my niece and nephew show some cattle. They're 5 and 4 years old, just trotting around these 1,200-pound heifers. And then I'll probably pop by the farm, see if. Listen, all this rain really complicates things. There's no doubt about it. Let's step aside. We'll try and check in with our buddy Andy Strickland, see if he is ready to rock and roll here coming out of the break. And 9 o'clock hour, we'll check in with Mike Wilner, Toronto Star, Deep Left Field podcast covering the Blue Jays. We'll talk Jays deadline plans, who's coming, who's going, who's untouchable. Does that list exist inside the organization? And then Howard Balzer, Cards Wire, covers the Arizona Cardinals, and also Hall of Fame selector. Excited to talk with Howard about this year's Hall of Fame class because it is a dandy, headlined, in my opinion, by none other than Arizona's own Larry Fitzgerald. 10 o'clock hour, Cam Tate with Cam and Eggs, and the con man, Connor Halley, where we will inform him of Donovan's infections swirling around this studio. Andy Strickland, right after the break. It's the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440, streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, brought to you by Bet365.
Island Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Say hello to Alberta's home for reeling and dealing. With Play Alberta, you can spin into the excitement of popular slots like Cash Eruption and Desert Fantasy. Experience Alberta exclusive games and get in on the action of live dealer tables with all new elevated stakes. However you prefer to play, the fun is ready when you are. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
for all your welding supplies. Think AWS Welding. Located in Nisku, their readily stocked storefront carries a wide variety of welding glasses, cylinder rentals, plus welding rod, wire, and consumables. Same-day delivery is always available. And if they don't have it, AWS Welding will find it for you fast. Visit their online store today at awswelding.ca or give them a call or text at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. They make it happen.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
This jersey was worn by the legend himself, signed and everything. You can't just wear it. I'm framing it with expressions and images.
Your prized jersey deserves better than the closet. Think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
$8:40 in Edmonton. Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas, Donovan Paulson, Josh Fenwick, all in studio. Watch the show along with us today. It's streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, even Twitch. And if you're just strictly audio, lots of good options there too. iHeart Radio, the TuneIn app, sports1440.ca, and of course, my favorite, the old trusty, reliable AM radio dial. Let's get to our headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing, the only team you want in your corner when things get messy. For all your plumbing needs, go to mrrooter.ca. We welcome back Andy Strickland, St. Louis Blues host, reporter, and co-host of the Cam and Strick podcast. Andy, good morning. Appreciate you carving out a little time for us today. How are things going down in the Show Me State?
Oh, things are good. Things are good. You know, hockey is, you can kind of feel it, right? It's right around the corner, but then you look at the schedule, you realize there's still two months left before the season gets going.
Yeah.
That training camp will be here, and, you know, everything's kind of starting to get moving, and you kind of have an idea what the team's going to look like and what every other team is going to look like as well. So, man, we're getting closer.
Now, the Blues have had a pretty active offseason, and it's come in both fashions of additions, but also some subtractions, and none more notable on the subtraction side than Jordan Kyrou, who is shipped to Washington, and kind of their little retool, reload piece of good work by McFarland and company out in D.C. But, you know, you get back Connor McMichael, you bring in Mason McTavish for a pretty good price from Anaheim. Starting with Kyrou and his connection to kind of Robert Thomas as the two pillars of the forward group on this team for quite a few years now. Now, all of a sudden, this trade train and rumors swirling around Thomas have quieted down. But did it always seem like an inevitability that Kyrou was going to find his way out due to some more of his recent struggles?
Oh my God, yeah, we've been hearing about the rumors for 4 or 5 years. I mean, they just won't go away with Jordan Kyrou, whether he scores 18 or 37. It didn't really matter. The rumors were going to be there, so it was only a matter of time before they moved on from Jordan Kyrou. And listen, I think this is the best thing to happen, not only for the Blues, you know, to move on maybe from a player that didn't always look like a great fit. Maybe there was some frustration at times, but, you know, more times than often or than not, I mean, this guy rewarded you with his offensive ability, his goal-scoring ability, his speed, his creativity. But this is the best thing for Jordan Kyrou, too. I think he's going to thrive in Washington. Change of scenery sometimes can be good. I think he needed it. And I think maybe, you know, the team needed it. You know, like when you're missing the playoffs and things aren't going the way that you expect them to be, there has to be change. You can't just roll it back year after year after year. And the teams who do that typically kind of stay, you know, stuck in mud, and they can't get out of it. So you got to make some changes. You got a player, obviously, who had a lot of success individually, and there was going to be some interest in him. And he was going to be able to control where he goes when you look at his no trade clause that he had in his contract. But the Blues like the value they got back in return. They got McMichael extended. I think he's going to be a good fit here. Probably brings a little bit of a different style of game, a different type of game, but he can still put the puck in the net. And I'm excited to see how he fits in. It's a great fit for Connor McMichael as well.
Mm-hmm. Andy Strickland from the Cam and Strick podcast down in St. Louis, covering the Blues with us here on the Tom Gazzola Show. So then the other side of that coin is the piece that remains, and that is Robert Thomas, leading scorer of the team, number one center, perennially underrated, in my opinion. I've been a big fan of what he brings to the table for a number of years now, Strick. And do you think that now with some of the dust settling and they move on from Kyrou, they shore up some other areas around Thomas, that he is now more likely to stay than to go, or how do you see that shaking out?
Well, I don't see him leaving anytime soon. And again, here's another guy who's got a no trade clause. But at the same time, I think the way things went down at the trade deadline, I think for the first time in his career, he was kind of exploring, hey, the possibility of leaving and playing elsewhere. But I think when you look at a guy like Leo Carlson making $18 million, you got Kaprizov making $17 million. Look at the salaries now that are shifting in the NHL and how much money guys are going to be making. I mean, Connor Bedard making $15 million. Robert Thomas makes just over $8 million.
Yeah.
For a long time, guys. I think he's got 4 or 5 years left on his deal. Why would you move him? It never made any sense to me to move on from Robert Thomas. And I agree with you. I think he is underrated. You want to see him put together a complete season, where maybe you don't have the significant ups and downs. He's, had some nagging injuries in the past, but for the most part, he's been a healthy player. But, you see stretches where this guy is as dominating as any center in the National Hockey League. I mean, 2 years ago, coming out of the Four Nations, he led the NHL in scoring in the final 25 games of the season coming out of the Four Nations. And then you look at what he did last year coming out of the Olympics. So if we can only have an Olympic break, maybe earlier in the season, then maybe that would bode well for Robert Thomas. But this guy's got so much ability. And then down the stretch, he found some chemistry with Dylan Holloway and Jimmy Snuggerud, who, again, two guys they expect to take another step. You want to see Holloway put together a full season.
Yeah.
But what will it look like if Thomas can put together a full season? Is he a 90-point guy? Can he career it and get to 100? Is he 95? But he's certainly better than getting 75 to 85, in my opinion, or 70 to 80. This guy has too much potential for that. So they've got to get their power play in order. They made some changes to the coaching staff. They've moved on from a couple of guys. But you look at the players around the league who put up 90, 100 plus. Typically, they're putting up a lot of power play points. The Blues need to improve their power play for him to get there. But in terms of natural ability, this guy's as good as you're going to find, really, as a number one center outside of maybe three or four, 3 to 5 players in the league.
So the addition of Mason McTavish, it cost them a couple first-round picks, albeit in the middle and end of this past draft's first round. But a guy that almost you can tell a similar tune to what happened to Kyrou in St. Louis, where kind of falling out of favor a little bit and, got the big money that all of a sudden isn't looking quite as rosy, but so much raw talent and ability there going back to his pedigree out of junior and a 3rd overall draft pick. What did you make of the addition of McTavish to kind of take over that number 2 center role down the middle for this team?
Listen, I'll be interested to see how it goes. I mean, Kyrou played the wing, but he brought so much speed to the table. It's a different type of situation with McTavish because he doesn't play with a ton of pace.
Mm-hmm.
But he is super, super skilled, probably more skilled than Kyrou, to be honest with you. And probably skilled, has the ability to score goals closer to the net than Kyrou did. Kyrou, was a really strong rush player, would score off the rush. He could score from the top of the circles, had a underrated shot, could get pucks through and beat NHL goaltenders consistently from distance, just with his ability to, his puck placement was excellent. Now, with McTavish, I'm just curious to see how that goes and how that fits in. Like, I've known Joe Quenneville for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He likes players who play with pace. And for McTavish to be a healthy scratch as the 3rd overall pick just a few years ago is a little bit of a head scratcher. So I think there's some unknown with McTavish. I mean, the Blues have certainly invested a lot to get him. You get 4 first-round picks. It's not easy to have a year like that. You want to capitalize on a off season or a draft, when you go in with that much draft capital, you want to make the most of it. And so this has got to work. This has got to be a home run, in my opinion, when you consider that they work so hard to get 4 first-rounders, and then they move 2 of them to get Mason McTavish. He can't come here and be average. He's got to be a star for the Blues and one of their best players and a foundational piece moving forward. So they believe that he will be. And, you know, I hope that's the case, because we all know that he has the ability. He's got to put it all together. But, you know, like you said, hey, sometimes a change of scenery is what a player needs, and you hope that's the case for Mason McTavish. There's no denying his talent, man. This guy has got a lot of talent. He's coming into a team where, listen, if I'm him, if I'm Connor McMichael, what better situation than basically everybody's starting fresh. Everyone's around the same age. Outside of Robert Thomas, in terms of the forward group, nobody's really been here that long. You can come in here and truly, like, be a leader with this team right from the very beginning. And they need him to be. And I hope this really pays off for the Blues and Mason McTavish, and he has a really, really good run ahead of him.
Andy Strickland, St. Louis Blues host, reporter, and Cam and Strick podcast, guesting with us here on Sports 1440. So on the back end, the big name brought in is Brandon Carlo out of Toronto, excuse me. And it essentially, to me, Strick just kind of plugs and fills the hole left vacant by Justin Falk's departure to Detroit, and, you know, gets a little bit younger, brings a little bit of a different talent set to the table than what Falk did. Do you like this as a way to round out this top 4 group that, when you look at it just on paper, is certainly one of the more formidable ones across the league when you pair him with Parayko, Broberg, and Cam Fowler?
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like. Is he top 4? Is he a 6? For me right now, he's a 6. Because I like this Theo Lindstein, who the Blues took in the first round back in 2023. They had 3 first-rounders that year. And with Dvorsky and Otto Stenberg, all 3 of them have a chance to make the team. We'll see if that can happen, where they get 3 first-round picks to make the team out of camp. They all played down the stretch last year, but Lindstein was probably the biggest surprise for me. His skating ability, his ability to close in on the puck carrier or angle, you know, offensive players in the neutral zone, and really just kind of cut them off with his intelligence as a defenseman. He is better than I thought he would be, and better than the reports suggested he would be from what you were hearing from his play down in the American League. You know, sometimes guys are better in the National League than they are in the American League. And so he played really well with Parayko, and I would think that that's going to be an option for the team right off the bat, to have him play with Parayko. You've got Logan Mailloux, who no one really talked about, who this guy was playing unbelievable hockey down the stretch. He struggled a little bit in the first half of the season. He came into the year with only 8 NHL games under his belt. Super young, super inexperienced, but you saw him really take off. This guy's got so much ability. Philip Broberg, they believe, is the number 1. And if you watch him play consistently, I think most people would be in agreement with that. So they're bringing in a kid, you know, Adam Urasek, who they drafted in the first round a couple of years ago. He probably would have gone in the top 10 if he didn't have a knee injury in his draft year. And this guy had an incredible season in the Ontario League last year, and then he followed that up and played as well as any defenseman they had in Springfield. They had a nice little run in the American League where he finished the season. So I think he's got a chance to make the team. And I feel like Carlo was brought here as insurance in case Urasek isn't quite ready. You still have Tyler Tucker, who adds a little bit of beef and muscle on the back end. So one of those 3 guys, or all of those 3 guys, are probably going to spend time playing with Cam Fowler at some point on the third pair. And, you know, whether it's Carlo to start the season, or it's Urasek, or it's Tucker, remains to be seen, but we'll see how all that plays out. You can't keep everybody. So
yeah,
it's going to be an interesting competition in training camp.
So you mentioned a trio of kind of younger defensemen that have a chance to crack this roster and help further the Blues' efforts in getting back to a playoff spot in Lindstein, Mailloux, and then Urasek. They have some insulation there with the addition of Carlo, and then you mentioned Tyler Tucker as well. But up front, like we saw the forward group kind of take a big step forward with Jimmy Snuggerud emerging, right? Now they've got some other good players here. Dalibor Dvorsky, you mentioned Stenberg. Jake Neighbors continuing to find his way, and he's going to be due a new contract. Is there a little more pressure on some of these forwards in a group that got quite a bit younger all of a sudden to maybe take some steps without quite as much insulation as there is for the guys on the back end?
Yeah, there's always pressure, and there's certainly going to be pressure on these guys, because it's not just pressure because of who they are or where they were drafted or their contract, but it's the role that they're going to have with this team and the expectations. Like, they're expecting Jake Neighbors to take another step on the ice, off the ice, leadership. No Braden Shen here. Power play guy, net front guy, character wise, all of that. They need it. It's not really an option. They need Jake Neighbors to be that guy. And if he's not, then there's a hole in the lineup. And so I think the expectation is pretty clear of what they want from him. And, you know, Jimmy Snuggerud, the natural goal scorer, and he should be able to put the puck in the net. He's going to get plenty of chances, 5-on-5 on the power play. He'll be a first or second option on the power play with his ability to shoot and one time the puck. And you know, he can score off the rush too, and he scores goals close to the net, and he's a creative, underrated passer and playmaker. So they think he's got the potential to score 30 in this league consistently. You know, and some people look at it like, wow, you know, it's like, man, can he really score 30? And you think it's such a big number, and it's like you realize how underappreciated Jordan Kyrou was because he scored 33 consecutive times. You know what I mean? Like, we act like it was just so easy, and like, you know, so, but no, he should be able to, you know, produce at a super high level, especially playing with Robert Thomas and Holloway, who's so good.
Yeah.
If he can stay healthy for a complete season, man, they got him locked up at an unbelievable contract. It'll be interesting, you know, with all this money guys are making, you know, what Jimmy Snuggerud is able to command after this season. You know, you've got Robert Thomas 8.1, you've got Broberg at $8 million, you've got you know, Holloway making below 8, under $8 million. He's in the 7s. You know, listen, Alexander Steen is going to be in his first year as a GM, man. He's going to love to keep that number as low as possible. He'd love to find a way to kind of have an internal cap of 8.1, which is what Thomas is making. Whether or not he can do that remains to be seen. And it's interesting because Snuggerud's agent was also Steen's agent. They're good friends. It was Steen's agent towards the end of his career. He had Don Baisley forever. But when Don passed away, he went on with Ben Hankinson. So that's going to be an interesting negotiation because I know the Blues would love to avoid having to shell out some type of crazy salary there.
Last one for you, Strick, and it's the only position group we haven't discussed yet, and it is the goaltending situation. Joel Hofer really taking strides last season and kind of taking over the primary job, but mostly still split duty with Jordan Binnington. Now, both need a new contract. Binnington, UFA, Hofer, RFA. Do you envision Jordan Binnington still being a St. Louis Blue at the conclusion of this upcoming season?
Well, that'll be dependent on how the season goes.
Okay.
I mean, if the Blues are in a playoff position, I don't see, you know, and I'm talking about like secure playoff position, not like, you know, 1 point in, 1 foot in, 1 foot out at the trade deadline. And they're just teetering with wild card 2, which means that they probably have had some inconsistencies throughout the season, but they've also played some really good hockey to put themselves in that spot. Then I think it's something that you think about. Because then I think you say to yourself, well, even if we get in, are we a team that's good enough to win more than a round? Can we get to the second round? Can we get to the third round? You know, if you're in wild card 2, you're playing a pretty good team in the first round. So you got to think, you know, in a different way, and you got to have a, you know, forward-thinking approach to how you look at it. If they're a team that's in the top 3 in the division, and they believe that they have shown that they can win a couple of rounds and potentially even surprise some people and really have a deep run, then we all know you probably need 2 goaltenders to make that happen. And that also means that Jordan Binnington has been a big part of the season and has played some great hockey. So, and the health status of Joel Hofer, how Hofer has played. I mean, as great as Hofer is, and this guy's got so much ability, he is so good. I mean, we're talking about a guy like Jordan Binnington who's not like aging. This guy can still play. And it wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden Binnington, with his ability to kind of flip a switch and with the focus that he can play with, that if he returns this season and plays unbelievable hockey, and maybe the best hockey we've seen from him over the course of the last couple of years, and potentially even outplays Hofer. I mean, we see the ups and downs with goaltenders, right, all the time in the NHL. I mean, you guys know that, right? It's hard to find somebody who's consistently good every single year. So we don't know for sure how Hofer's going to play. I think we think that he's going to, you know, be the guy that we think he is. But if he's not, hey, it's great to have that insurance in Jordan Binnington, who has that ability to carry a team for long stretches. So hopefully they both play well. I'll be curious to see how it goes and how the split goes, and who's playing. I would think that Hope is going to get a chance to probably play 2 out of every 3 games, but they're not going to have Binnington just sit there and not play for long stretches. He's going to be involved and a big part of the team. And hopefully the team's in a great playoff spot come trade deadline, and they find a way to hang on to both of them, even if it means losing one of them in the summer. Jordan Binnington likely.
Yeah.
And you're not getting any compensation in return, man. This guy's an iconic player in Blues history, and I know he loves it here. So if the Blues are going to make the playoffs, he'd love to have Jordan Binnington on the roster.
Very intriguing team for me going into the season in a tough Central Division, retooled, but man, what a collection of young talent that they've assembled, both up front and on the back end. Strick, really appreciate your time. Thanks for this. Have a great remainder of your summer. Look forward to catching up as we get a little closer to the season getting underway.
All right. It was fun, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling.
You betcha. Andy Strickland, Cam and Strick podcast, St. Louis Blues host, reporter, does it all down there in Mizzou. He was our headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing. Keeping you out of the penalty box, that's mrrooter.ca. When we come back, Mike Wilner will join us to talk some Blue Jays. The deadline less than a week away. Who are the Jays going to move on from? Who are they going to hold on to? And what might some returns yield in the process? Before that, let's have a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand, high-quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Get noticed at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That's Fusion with a Z. Here is Donovan Paulson.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
On the diamond from last night, the Jays edged out the Nats 3-2. The Marlins snapped their 12-game losing streak, winning 8-7 against the Phils. The Orioles took down the Tigers 8-5. The Pirates snuck past the D-backs in extras. The Red Sox beat the A's via grand slam, and the Yankees topped the White Sox 9-5. Some football news: the Vikings signing former All-Pro Jamal Adams, and Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Bucks. Coming up, we got Mike Wilner after the break. Talk a little Jays. I'm Donovan Paulson. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus all. T's and C's apply.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Hi, Edmonton. The legend has been reimagined. Check out the all-new 2026 Subaru Outback. With Subaru's legendary symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, impressive cargo versatility, advanced safety technology, and an IIHS top safety pick award or higher for 17 consecutive years, the Outback delivers confidence wherever adventure takes you. Whether it's the daily drive, the mountain getaway, or anything in between, the all-new Outback is built for the journey. Test drive it today at your local Subaru dealer. Welcome to Uncommon.
The Tom Gazzola Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
Just after 9 o'clock, welcome back into the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tom this week as he enjoys a little time away, helping out at some hockey camps and schools, educating the youth about the right way to play the game. That's how Tom Gazzola rolls. 1-833-401-1440 is our text line. You can get on the conversation with us all morning long. And the show, as always, brought to you by Bet365. Canada just hit the biggest home run of the summer. Bet365 is available in Alberta and here to stay. Download the app. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. Now let's head out east and check in on the Toronto Blue Jays amid a set in Washington, D.C. against the Nationals with Mike Wilner. Welcome him back to the program from the Toronto Star and the Deep Left Field podcast. Mike, good morning. Thanks for hopping on with us today. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks for thinking of me. Good morning.
Good morning to you as well. So, Mike, the Jays open up the set in Washington with a win. We see Max Scherzer return to the hill, and, nothing spectacular, nothing overwhelming, but 2 2/3, gives up the 4 hits. Just the 1 run, did strike out 4 in his return to the major leagues as well. And I posed this question right off the top of the show today, following his 42nd birthday, 100th start at the park in D.C. And I want to phrase it to you as well. Does Max Scherzer's return between last night and another potential appearance he could make here garner any form of interest on the trade market to join the other collection of players that the Jays are expected to jettison here in the next week?
Any form is a really interesting way to put it. I'm watching Max Scherzer throw 75 pitches to get 8 outs, and have struggled this year after he struggled last year, after he struggled the year before, and he's 42 now. If I'm a contending team, I'm not looking at Max Scherzer and saying, I want that in my starting rotation. There's my 5th starter.
Right.
No, I'm not. But, the Blue Jays are still sort of teetering on the precipice, right? They win tonight. They could be, if Cleveland cooperates, 3.5 games out of a playoff spot. They might be 2 games out on Thursday. And if you do that, you're not so much sellers anymore, but we'll see. I mean, They've given no indication at all that they're about to go on a season-saving run, but neither had the Red Sox last month.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And just sticking with Scherzer for a moment, so I'm with you. Like the pitching element is clearly not much of a factor, especially for a team come playoff time. But do you give any validity to the notion about his experience and what he's been through, what he's seen as recently as last year with the Jays en route to the World Series loss, to be, maybe just like an extra voice, an extra coach in the dugout, in the clubhouse, and not even one that they're really using a, roster spot on come playoff time? Is there anything to that, or am I just, a little bit of sentimental value attaching to one of the best of a generation?
I mean, look, there's some validity to wanting him around.
Right.
But I don't know that sort of matters as much if you're airlifting him in for the last 2 months of the season to sort of, be an opener and then hang out on the injured list and then just be in the dugout during the playoffs for a team that he doesn't know, for a group that he hasn't been with, and all of that stuff. I don't think you're giving up an asset for that.
So Mike,
or even a roster spot.
Yeah,
it's not going to take an asset to get Scherzer, but I don't think you're giving up a roster spot.
Yeah, it's very, very fair, and like I said, maybe a little bit of wishful thinking on my behalf. But the team does have plenty of other trade chits available to them, and as you said, they're not necessarily completely buried. I myself, as someone that's been watching them on a day-to-day basis like you this year, I don't have the highest hopes for them to pull off some, huge turnaround and make a push towards the playoffs. So if we're under the assumption that they are going to be sellers ahead of Monday, Kevin Gausman, Shane Beamer, Jeff Hoffman, Dalton Varsho are all names that have been out there and about. Where do you kind of see maybe as some potential landing spots and partners for any one of these guys? And in terms of maybe a pecking order of return value, how do you kind of stack up those 4 names in particular?
Well, I mean, landing spot, everybody needs starting pitching, right?
Course.
So for Gausman, for Bieber, who are probably going to bring you back the most, but neither of them is going to bring you back a huge haul. I mean, you don't really get a ton for a rental starting pitcher who's not having a good year. And Gausman had a quality start last time out, but he had a 7.80 ERA in his last 6 starts before that. Bieber's had 2 good starts this season. But if he has another one that is really good, that's 3 in a row. So maybe something. But for starting pitching, any contender wants starting pitching, and every contender wants starting pitching. So I haven't really looked into landing spots because I also think those predictions are almost guaranteed to be wrong. It's like someone trying to predict what the return might be in a trade. You always either almost always overshoot. But yeah, I just think that, if it comes to a point where on Thursday, the Blue Jays are still sputtering and, lose today and tomorrow, or split those games and don't look especially good doing it, and or even win them both, but you're still sitting 5 games back, then you just send out the group email and say, let's go. Doors open. Who wants who? I think you're going to have the hardest time finding a spot for George Springer, because it's going to have to be a team that needs a DH, and you can't always plug in, a DH especially into a contending team. But yeah, I think Gausman and Bieber are attractive to everyone. I think Dalton Varsho is attractive to most teams, but maybe not as an everyday center fielder. He just hasn't hit enough this year. And, Varsho is the player who's really shot himself in the foot the most with a year like this. He might have cost himself $100 million in free agency by having a crappy year this year.
Mike Wilner from the Toronto Star and Deep Left Field podcast, talking Toronto Blue Jays with us here on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. So I want to focus on Varsho for a second here. And hey, Mike, I'm not too proud to admit there's some bias. I love him as a player, the way he plays the game. Yes, the bat is showing plenty of inconsistencies. And put the cherry on top, I just ordered a Dalton Varsho jersey earlier this summer for my trip to come check some games out at the end of August. So I would love him to still be a Blue Jay at that time, even as unlikely as it looks. But has there been any discussions about an extension to keep him in Toronto moving forward? Or do you believe it to be a foregone conclusion because of his upside that he'll be shipped out by Monday?
I don't know that it has to be one or the other.
Okay.
If the Blue Jays recover and have a good few days, it's only going to take a few good days to get you like 2 games back. Then they might not be sellers. And they certainly don't want to give up on this team this year. So that's a motivating factor as well. There were talks about an extension for Varsho, and then he switched agents to Scott Boras, and so that scuttled those talks. So I just don't see how you do it coming off a year like this, where not only has the bat been bad, but the defense has not been Dalton Varsho defense. He's had a bad defensive season. It seems to be have gotten better over the course of the last month. But the thing that made him such an attractive commodity, the best defensive outfielder in the game, he hasn't been that this year. And the power hasn't been there this year. Like, even when he's not hitting, he still should be good for 18 to 25 home runs. But he's in single digits 2/3 of the way through the season. So I don't even know what an extension looks like. And I don't know why he would accept. Certainly Scott Boras isn't going to let him take one. But even if there was no Scott Boras, I don't know why he would take what would be something he would perceive as an offer that he could beat in free agency.
Right. Yeah, very, very uncharacteristic on the defensive side of the ball for him this year. So I would expect that most would write that off as the anomaly based on his track record, but the bat still seemingly some concerns there as well. As Mike Wilner joins us talking Toronto Blue Jays here on the Tom Gazzola Show. So, Mike, the names that we've kind of mulled over here are the obvious ones in terms of candidates to be traded ahead of the deadline. Are there any others on the roster as some like higher priced options that if the right offer came knocking on the door, you could see moved? And I'm talking, someone like Louis Varland, who's been one of the very best in the league this year. Another one of the position players, say Ernie Clement, whose bat is steady, even if his defense too has taken a step back this season. Like, is it going to take the right offer to maybe pry those guys loose? Or do you think that they're kind of in that untouchable category with some other names?
Well, I would hope that nobody's untouchable. If you have a player who's untouchable, then you're doing a bad job as a general manager, or in this case, a president of baseball operations, because Mark Shapiro is a guy who's pulling the strings on all the big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just going out there and saying, I'm absolutely never going to move this guy, then you're doing your team a disservice. You always, I'll trade anybody if it makes the team better, whether it's now or in the future. And Louis Varland is part of that equation. I don't think Louis Varland gets traded, but Louis Varland has been the second best closer in the major leagues this year, behind only Mason Miller of the Padres. And last year, Mason Miller got traded for a package that includes a player who is now the number 2 prospect in all of baseball, a shortstop named Leo DeVries. And Mason Miller is allegedly on the block again this year because he's in San Diego now, and AJ Preller just can't help himself from making trades. So if there is a scenario in which somebody offers up a really tasty package on Mason Miller and doesn't get him, and is willing to offer that same tasty package to the Blue Jays that includes like a top 10 overall prospect, a great center fielder for the future, or, the next Jacob Mizorowski, then you have to make that trade.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen, but you have to make that trade. I don't think Ernie Clement's going anywhere because I don't think Ernie Clement gets an offer like that. No one's going to knock your socks off for a phenomenal clubhouse guy who's a 290 hitter who will hit you 11 home runs,
right?
Who plays great defense up the middle. So I don't think it's Ernie, but I do think if there's a package for Louis Varland that includes the knock your socks off package, then you make that deal. Also, there's a lot of chatter about Jeff Hoffman now, which will not take such a huge package. And as much as Blue Jays fans love to hate Jeff Hoffman, he's got like a 1.30 ERA since the beginning of June. And so he's an attractive commodity out there. He's not your closer. So paying him $11 million next year is not the greatest allocation of resources. And if the Blue Jays are going to stink, they're going to want to get that payroll down so that they keep their first round draft pick where it is instead of losing 10 spots. So, yeah, I think Jeff Hoffman's a guy who also might be on the move.
Mike, really appreciate the insight. Good stuff. It's going to be an interesting next handful of days to see, how the Jays perform on the field to try and keep themselves in the mix and make some tough decisions for Shapiro, Atkins, and company. And then also, who's still on the roster by a week today. Thanks a lot for your time. Always good catching up with you. Take care. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take it easy. Thanks.
Mike Wilner, Toronto Star, Deep Left Field podcast covering the Toronto Blue Jays. And man, it's so funny, Donovan, that after all this, and I completely resigned myself to the fact like they're done, it's over. And then Mike's like, well, if they actually just win the next 2 games, they're only, 2.5, 3 games out all of a sudden of that wild card spot, which may prove moot because if you're getting that last wild card spot, to borrow a Daryl Sutter quote, it's a waste of 6 days, essentially.
Yeah, I know Mike talked it up. Like they still technically aren't dead, but like, come on, if this team doesn't sell at the deadline, like something's gone wrong. Like this team stinks. We all know it, right? They're no good. You got to sell.
They haven't played well. I'm not ready to write them off. Like, I don't think all the players on this roster as it currently sits are dog water players.
No.
A lot of them are enduring some poor years, and some of them were to be expected, like George Springer's regression. I think that was one we could see coming. Vlad Guerrero Jr., not so much. Do I think Guerrero Jr. is a bad player? No chance. Do I think he's going to be a perennial MVP like he kind of showed a few years ago? Yeah, that's starting to look a little more and more less likely too. So it will be certainly very interesting how the Jays fare. And maybe some of the other trades might dictate the market a little bit for them. You know, everybody on the scramble for a guy like Tarek Skubal, they come up short. Pivot. Where's our next pitching options? All of a sudden, the Jays got a couple starters sitting there with playoff experience, showing an ability to play well, pitch well in playoff spots. In Bieber and Gosman, maybe all of a sudden they can fetch a slightly better price than maybe Mike had indicated there during our conversation. When we come back, we will head south of the border for some football talk. Arizona Cardinals, camp underway. Jeremiah Love, third overall pick. Howard Balzer, Cards Wire covering the team, and also Hall of Fame selector ahead of this year's class getting enshrined in Canton in a couple weeks' time. That, lots more to come still in the final hour and a half of the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440, brought to you by Bet365.
Mr. Rooter has deja vu. Mr. Rooter has deja vu.
The bathroom is right over there, Mr. Rooter.
Thank you, good sir. Wait, I swear I've plunged this toilet before. It was clogged with a snow globe. Am I living in a time loop? Oh, good. It's just a voodoo doll that looks exactly like me. Whew, what a relief.
For a plumbing experience you'll want to relive, call Mr. Rooter.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout for Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later.
Sound familiar, Dale?
Thanks, Bet365.
Must be 18 or older. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. T's and C's apply.
Legendary is here with BetMGM Casino. Download now to check out over 4,000 casino games, including exclusive slots like Survivor and hundreds of live dealer games. Unlock Vegas magic and sign up for the BetMGM app. See BetMGM.com for terms. 18 plus, Alberta only. Please play responsibly. Subject to eligibility requirements.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with the Alberta iGaming Corporation. Standard message and data rates may apply.
The Tom Gazzola Show. All gas, no brakes. Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
$9:22 in Edmonton. Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for Tommy G this week. And unfortunate for Tom, he's missing out on us diving into his favorite NFL team, as we're going to talk some Arizona Cardinals training camp underway. And to do so, we welcome back Howard Balzer of Cards Wire, also Hall of Fame selector. Howard, good morning. Thank you for taking some time with us this morning. Busy times, I'm sure, down in AZ ahead of, well, not only camp getting underway, but the Hall of Fame ceremony coming up in a couple weeks as well. Thanks for hopping on.
My pleasure to be with you. And yes, a couple of weeks. Actually, the game itself, the Hall of Fame game, is in 9 days.
9 days, oh boy.
It's a week from Thursday. And then, of course, the enshrinement will occur on Saturday. So it's right around the corner. Obviously, the reason the Cardinals were in training camp with the Carolina Panthers, their opponent in that game, they were in training camp last week to get a little bit of head start and everybody else. And quick note, today, the entire league will some teams have reported it also because they play early regular season games in week 1. But today, the rest of the league reports 26 teams have their veterans report to training camp today. So the news and the headlines are going to be fast and furious starting pretty darn soon.
Yeah, no shortage of them, as is always the case. We know how the NFL can dominate the slowest of off-season days, but now with players back on the field, games coming up on the schedule, it's certainly an exciting time for football fans in the NFL. So Howard, I want to start with you with the Cardinals. And listen, I don't know if expectations are particularly high for this team this year inside a very competitive division, but they've got reasons to be excited, and I think that's headlined by the addition of Jeremiah Love, the 3rd overall pick out of Notre Dame. I was a little surprised at the direction, even as that rumor kind of got steam heading into the draft, just because of the state of the organization and where they're at competitively right now. But with Love specifically, going back to the draft, were you as shocked as maybe some others were? And through the first opening few days of camp, what have you made of the rookie so far?
I was not shocked, to be quite honest. Now, I think if David Bailey, who was the edge rusher, hadn't been taken by the Jets at number 2, then the Cardinals might have gone in that direction. But, certainly all the other positions, there's never a sure thing in the NFL. A lot of times running backs are. And a guy with the ability of Jeremiah Love, not only as a runner, but as a receiver and all the different things that he can do, his passion for the game and all that, I think he's going to bring a lot to this Cardinals offense. And that's what gives people some hope because of the talent they have at receiver. The talent obviously is one of the best, if not the best tight end in the NFL, and Trey McBride. Yeah. And most of the reasons for people being very down on the Cardinals is because of the quarterback situation. But last year, Jacoby Brissett, who finally got an increase in his salary for this year, he played pretty good football when they had no running game, virtually none when he was the starter, with James Conner injured, Trey Benson injured. Now they've added Love, they've added Tyler Algier, and Conner is back. And so they believe that overall offense can be very much improved and help this team be better than a lot of people expect. Of course, you look at the schedule, and the first 11 games are just a gauntlet. I mean, it's just insane, the schedule that the NFL handed them, with most of all the good teams in the front part of the schedule, and a lot of those games on the road. So we'll see how it all goes with a first-time head coach and Mike LaFleur. But these players, they believe that they can be competitive. We'll obviously find out when September 13th rolls around.
Now, sticking in the running back room for just a moment longer here, Howard, you mentioned some of the names they've got there. Obviously, Love is the headlining, fun new toy that everybody's excited to get a chance to play with. But Tyler Algier, James Conner, Trey Benson, these are all guys that have seen legitimate reps in the NFL already. So how do you see pecking order stacking out? And is it really going to come down to how a guy like Love manages through camp and preseason to see if he is going to be RB1 to open the season, or do you kind of consider that a little bit of a foregone conclusion?
I think it's foregone. I mean, you don't draft a guy 3rd overall to be part of the rotation. Doesn't mean he's going to get all the snaps, but I would expect him, to be the number 1 running back when the season opens. Big question is what happens behind him. James Conner's coming back from a serious injury, but he's in camp. He's not on the PUP list, so you would think he would contribute on some level, maybe in short yardage. Algier's also a guy who can catch the ball and is a good complementary back. Benson, who's had an injury last year that cost him most of the season, he's the big question. Does he make the roster? Because if you have a 4th running back on your roster, most of the time that guy plays special teams if he's going to be active on Sundays. And Benson's not a special teams guy. They have a guy like Bam Knight, who is pretty good on special teams and can give you some carries if you really need it. So that's going to be the interesting thing, that if Benson is healthy throughout the summer and everybody else stays healthy, then who knows? He could end up being, trade fodder, when the roster's cut to 53 on August 30th.
Cards Wires, Howard Balzer joining us here on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440, talking all things AZ Cardinals ahead of the season getting underway with the Hall of Fame game just in 9 days' time. So at the quarterback position, Jacoby Brissett, the hold in, hold out kind of conundrum comes to a close with him getting the raise he was looking for. Now, with Brissett, I'm kind of in lockstep with you. I didn't mind some of his game last year. Is Brissett almost a little bit too good, which is a crazy thing to say, I know, with the direction the Cardinals are going, where maybe they have eyes on the next franchise QB in next year's draft where the position is so much stronger? Like, is Brissett at a tier where he can actually almost win them too many games to get up to picking first, second, or even third again this coming season?
It's certainly possible, and that's what a lot of the fans wonder about, because they're all, envision all these excellent quarterbacks that are going to be in the draft next year, which I always caution, because I've seen it too many times over the years where everyone talks about next year with the quarterbacks, and all of a sudden things are a lot different when the draft rolls around than what it looked like the year before. But that's certainly what a lot of people expect. And the other expectation, Tom, is that, drafting Carson Beck in the third round with the first pick in the third round is that everyone figures that, well, he has to get some playing time at some point this season, so the team knows maybe a little bit about what they have, and who knows, could say to themselves, well, we don't need to draft a quarterback really high next year if he goes out there and shows that he's capable. So that's the big question. So people say, well, why pay Brissett if who knows, they might be 3-8 after 11 games, and at that point, that would be a good time. Each home games at the end of the year, the teams that we see now as not being really good, like Washington and like the Jets and Las Vegas, who knows what they're going to be like by the end of the year. That's when a lot of people are looking at would be a good time to get Carson Beck 5 or 6 games. So all of that obviously is conjecture. We don't know how the season is going to play out. And this could be a team, Tom, that, even last year with all the problems, there were some blowouts in the second half of the season, but that was to teams like the Rams, like Seattle, like San Francisco, those teams you alluded to that in the division, the NFC West, in the regular season were 38-13 combined. And so, but a lot of the other games, even though they were losing them, were close. Yeah. So that'll be what's interesting to see. If they're competitive, if they're in games, they're losing close games, how the organization and the coaching staff and the general manager, Monty Ossenfort, view what this team looks like and what the future might hold.
Howard Balzer from Cards Wire, our guest here on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. So, Howard, the tight end position is clearly an area of huge strength, and that is respective to the entirety of the league, because I'm right with you. I think Trey McBride is the best at the position right now. I mean, you look at his stat line from season to season, the growth is pretty tangible on a year-to-year basis, and then the explosion for 11 touchdowns last year. Is it possible? It's so many targets, 169 last season, but you've got Marvin Harrison Jr., you've got Michael Wilson, Kendrick Bourne joining the fold, plus the running backs we talked about, good pass catchers. Is it insane to say that you could see McBride's total in targets go up even again this year, or are they going to try and temper things a little bit on that front?
I don't think they'll try and temper it, but I think it would be pretty unbelievable for those numbers to go up, and just because of the way it looks like the ball will be spread around in the offense that Mike LaFleur will be running. And so, you look at the Rams when he was there with Sean McVay the last few years, and you look at the way they ran the ball and all the targets on offense. And yet, even with that, Puka Nacua had just an unbelievable number of receptions last year within that system. And so, McBride probably becomes the go-to guy in there, but a lot, like you said, depends on what's happening with the rest of the team. And then the other thing is what happens in games. I mean, if you're in games in the second half, then you're still running the ball. You're still trying to spread it around. I mean, there's 70 people don't realize 70 to 75% of the games in the NFL on a yearly basis are one-score games at some point in the fourth quarter. The good teams find ways to win those. Teams with bad records find ways to lose them. So if you're in games in the fourth quarter, you're still going to be running the football. Whereas if you're not, then you're almost passing all the time, which is what the Cardinals became in a bunch of games in the second half of last season. So that will determine how the ball gets apportioned in that offense. But I do expect it to be spread around, a lot more than it ended up being last year. And the running game is a big part of that.
Yeah. Last one for you on the team before I shift gears to talk a little Hall of Fame stuff with you, Howard, is on the defense. And I was, Jonathan Gannon, his success as a coordinator was quite prolific. He was really good there, but it never quite seemed to land from the head coaching front, where it always seemed like the defense was on the verge of taking that next step on a continued basis. Now, they got some good pieces there. Josh Sweat, 12 sacks in his first year with the Cardinals, former top pick Walter Nolan at the D tackle spot. But what do you make of this defensive group heading into the season? And can it do its part to hold the team in games and remain competitive?
Yeah, it's a big part of it. And certainly if the offense does its job and stays on the field, then that keeps the defense off the field. Yeah. And so what we saw last year is halfway through the season, they were 3-5. And the defense was playing pretty solid. Not great, but it was solid. And then they didn't win a game the rest of the year. And this was the most injured team in the NFL last year. They lost over 300 games to players that were on injured reserve, either ending the season on IR or being on IR at some point. And that doesn't include guys who were never put on IR that missed games because of injuries also. And after they got to 3-5, one of the key guys on that defense, Mike linebacker, Mac Wilson Sr., he was injured in that eighth game of the season, didn't play again. That had a tremendous impact on that defense. And then Nolan, who played well in the short time he was there, only played 6 games. So they're hoping he will be a big factor this year. And so if they can stay healthy and solve a lot of the questions they have, then I think they can be improved, because you look at the numbers and they were a middle of the road defense in the first half of the season last year, at the bottom of the league in the second half. And so they've got to figure out a way to turn that around, and keeping their top players on the field is a big part of that.
Yeah. Howard Balzer from Cardswire, our guest here on the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tom this week. So, Howard, in addition to your work covering the Cardinals, you are, of course, a Hall of Fame selector. And it is a loaded class this year. Drew Brees, Roger Craig, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and then one very close to home for those of you down in Arizona, Larry Fitzgerald. So just a comment on this year's class, and maybe a little emphasis on Larry Fitzgerald, who I'm sure you've had plenty of interactions with over the years.
Yeah, no doubt. It was interesting, though, when I relocated to Arizona in 2020, which was the pandemic year, and that turned out to be Larry's final season. Never got a chance to meet him because there was no access. All the interviews were on Zoom, and when I finally met him after that, it was pretty interesting. But yeah, just an amazing player. And when you look at that team, that class, Roger Craig, the seniors candidate, but the other 4 guys, Fitzgerald and Brees in their first year of eligibility, Kuechly and Vinatieri in their second year of eligibility. So it just shows a lot of times the tough decisions we have as a selection committee when all these great players become eligible, each year, and then it pushes down guys who have been, finalists for numerous years and find it hard to get selected. Heck, Tom, I was looking at the list for 2027. Ben Roethlisberger becomes eligible for the first time. Rob Gronkowski, Adrian Peterson. I mean, it's just absolutely loaded. And so I think a lot of times some recency bias sneaks in. Not to say that these guys aren't worthy, but other guys that are worthy just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. But this is a great class, like you said. And Fitzgerald was an icon, obviously, here in Arizona, does an incredible amount of work in the community, and he stayed active there. 17 years he played with the same team that wasn't very successful for most of those years. But, certainly, with Brees, his first time eligible, has headlined this class. But overall, it's a great one. And it's always my humbling honor not only to be a selector, but be at Hall of Fame weekend each year, because it's just, there's nothing like it, I don't believe, in sports, especially the Friday night dinner when you see over 100 guys wearing their gold jackets converge on the Civic Center downtown and watch the enshrinees walk the gauntlet of the stage. It's just a sight to see, and as emotional as it can get.
Awesome. Well, Howard, I really can't express how much I want you to have a good time. Enjoy this year's event out in Canton, and of course the game between the Cards and the Panthers next Thursday. Enjoy that. Thanks for hopping on, and we'll look forward to catching up with you as the season progresses. Take care, and we'll chat soon.
My pleasure, Tom. Take care.
Howard Balzer, Cards Wire Hall of Fame selector. Really awesome guest. To always enjoy the chance to catch up with Howard and get his insights, like he said, about the process and how we love to pick apart each year when the Hall of Fame class gets announced at whatever sport, football, hockey, baseball, doesn't matter. But man, they have some tough decisions to make, and this year's football class, no exception. Man, what a collection! Breeze, Fitzgerald, Vinatieri, and Luke Kuechly. As Howard said, 2 of them in first year of eligibility, 2 others just in their second, and then of course Roger Craig is the senior throwback type addition this year. When we return, we will go in or out with Donovan. 10 o'clock, we're going to hear from Cam Tate with Cam and Eggs. And then at 10:20, the con man, Connor Halley from The Frenzy, Jason Greger Show. He'll pop in. We'll talk a little more NFL, plus some CFL stuff heading into the middle and back half of the week. It's the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tommy G this week on Sports 1440. Donovan Paulson, Josh Flemmick alongside as well. Watch the show. It's streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. And it's brought to you by Bet365.
Craving a dining experience that rises above the rest? Head to Summit Restaurant in the Silent Ice Center, just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Savor exceptional house-made pizza, delectable entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails in a stylish, modern atmosphere. Perfect for a casual meal or a special night out. Summit offers a refined experience where every bite and sip reflects our dedication to quality. Elevate your dining experience. Make Summit Restaurant your destination tonight.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Any project, big or small, when you need metal cut to your exact measurements fast, count on Metal Supermarkets, a warehouse bursting at the seams with inventory, plus metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, plasma cutting, welding, even delivery. Endless possibilities. Now imagine what they can do for you.
How about a garage shelf?
Think bigger, my friend.
2 garage shelves?
There you go.
I live on the edge.
The local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Alberta, this one's for you. Around here, trust takes a few winters. It's why players have known Jackpot City since 1998. Home to hundreds of exciting casino games, live dealer action, and new adventures waiting to be discovered. Jackpot City, nothing beats the original. Please play responsibly, 18 years or older, Alberta only.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca.
The Tom Gazzola Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
Well, welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for Tom this week. And yes, MTR. Howard was calling me Tom. I don't fault him. He was on video call. It's the Tom Gazzola Show plastered all over the screen. I don't blame him at all. I'd be happy to be Tom. I'd have hair, be handsome, things would really be looking up for me. But that's all right. Scalding Gourd also, okay, but how does any of this affect Tommy's next haircut? Good question. How long do you think it would take for us in the building, like this Sports 1440 collective, to convince Tom that he should just join the Buzz Gang? The likes of me, Eddie, Gregor, Declan. We've got a new man aboard.
Yeah, new member.
I don't see Low Tide coming to that side anytime soon. Donovan and Josh, you guys are a little on the young side still, probably. Although, keep in mind, I made this commitment when I was like 20 years old. When I had hair still then. Maybe I still do. I don't even know.
Maybe you should just let it grow out. Pull a Gregor.
I have a friend that tries to convince me of that semi-regularly, and I just cast it aside. There's no chance.
You should do the Gregor, the Sharks bet.
I'll just make an outlandish bet and then lose it and have to face ridicule. Before we get to in or out, I just wanted to mention this just coming down from the Elks themselves. Legendary Double E coach Frank Pop Ivy to be inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Oklahoma native, led the team to their first 3 Grey Cup championships in franchise history. So, of course, he has since passed away. This induction is posthumously. 6 years, he was an assistant at the OU in Oklahoma. He came to Edmonton prior to the 54 season. 11-5 mark the first year, 50-14 overall. Highest league winning percentage, in league history at .781. And at least one of 3 head coaches with at least 10 victories in every season at the helm. 14 consecutive regular season wins across 54-55, tied for the second longest streak, in CFL history. So great honor for Pop Ivy. The Hall of Fame class for the Canadian Football Hall of Fame this year is now complete. We saw Brandon Banks, Sean Millington, Charleston Hughes, Calvin Tiggle, Jim Evanson, and now Frank Pop Ivy. So a great honor. Excellent. Very well deserved in that from Micah Curie and the rest of the comms team at Edmonton Elks Football Club. Let's get to in or out. Brought to you by Pro Solutions. Need fast AC service? Pro Solutions offers expert repairs, tune-ups, and installs with flexible financing. Book your appointment now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Donnie. What we got?
Already, Brando. We'll start things off with the Oilers. Team that we
I love the Oilers.
Haven't talked too much about over the last couple of weeks here. And for me, I'm saying this will be the year that the Oilers finally break the NHL's longest division-winning drought, which for those of you counting at home, the last year they won the division was 86-87. So that is a long time.
Quick, Donovan, how many years is that?
That is, it's 39, 38?
This would be the 40th season.
Yeah.
Right? You said 86, 87?
86, 87. So it was 39 years. This will be 40.
I think I'm in on this. We talked about this a little bit with Spec at 8 o'clock, like kind of sizing up the Pacific Division and some shifting wins here. I do not believe Vegas is going to be as good next year. I still think they're probably a playoff team, but you're losing your number 1 goal scorer. And it's not one of the situations where you've got some top pick waiting in the wings, pushing the top off the American League or whatever. Like, Vegas doesn't draft top picks. They just trade them all away. So I'm not convinced on Vegas. Listen, I love the Ducks. I still think they're a playoff team as well, but I don't think they can win the division with the current assembly of, defense in particular. And then if we're talking Kings, Sharks, I can't see it. I can't. And so by process of elimination, with all due respect to Calgary and Vancouver, the Oilers are the team that's going to win. I think the Oilers are better. The goaltending is a little bit of a interesting spot, how it's all going to shake out. But I do think it's improved on paper. I think the defense is improved on paper. We got to see him take the ice, but I'll be in on this, Donovan. I think it could finally come to fruition this year. If for no other reason, then I can't see any of the other teams in the division taking the reins on it.
Yeah, like I know the one is Vegas. That's the real other team you look at and you go, could they get it done? Absolutely. But to your point earlier in the show, when you do lose Pavel Dorofeyev, when you trade him away, you get your worst team. Just that's a fact. You lose a near 40 goal scorer and you become worse. That's just how it works, right? So, I mean, they replaced him with Victor Olofsson, who is a fine player, but that's not a 40 goal scorer. So, I look at their bottom six and I'm particularly underwhelmed. It's just we'll see how it goes for Vegas, but I'm all aboard Team Oilers in terms of them finally being able to win the division, because I do think they have the most complete roster in this division.
Josh, if I get you to weigh in here, are you going to make an ass of me by saying the Calgary Flames are going to win the division? That's my impression of you. Talking about the Flames specifically.
Listen, man, they're not going to win the division. They suck. Like the Flames, that is.
Yeah. This is something about the Flames. They're gritty, man.
Hey, I love them.
I think the identity they have in Ryan Huska is a good one. The problem is I don't think
Ryan Huska sucks.
I don't think they have the talent.
They're missing a top line.
all the
Maybe Matt Pegridden will be a top line winner.
I
like Gridden, but they're missing a top line center. I'm sorry, I don't get emailed the in or out. So can you redo what am I weighing in on?
Have you not been listening for the past 5 minutes?
Will the Oilers win the division?
Oh,
they haven't won it in 39 years.
Okay, so we are still on that. I thought maybe you went to number 2.
No.
Sorry, I was reading an Emily Wilson thing.
Way to stay sharp.
Yeah, thank you. Dialed. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's about time.
It is about time. And just looking back at your Flames roster, by the way, because I just, when you said they don't have a top line, what they have is a collection of a third line or a second line.
They have 3 third lines.
they have 3 third lines.
Yeah, brother. You're damn right they do.
they
and Matt Pegridden.
I like Matt Pegridden. I like Matt Coronado. Like, there's actually a lot of players that I like on that Flames team. It's just unfortunately for them, they're all third liners. Gotta love the Calgary Flames. Anyways, off to number 2. We obviously touched on the Cardinals right before this segment. I'm saying they will be one of 3 teams to win 4 games or fewer in the NFL this year.
3 teams.
One of 3
to win 4 games or fewer.
Yes.
All right. Teams that I think are going to win 4 games or fewer. Let's count them out together. The Miami Dolphins.
No.
The New York Football Jets.
Yeah.
Is it possible for 2 teams in the same division to win so few games?
Yes.
When it's these 2 teams, the answer is yes. Cleveland without Myles Garrett.
And who's taking snaps from him again?
Well, Deshaun Watson's back. I don't know if you heard.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
4 teams, you said? No, 3.
I said 3
teams, 4 wins or less.
Yes. One of them is going to stumble into 5 wins. Let's be real here.
This is tough because
one of them will.
I haven't done my year-long projection where I go through the simulator and pick every single game, because otherwise it's hard to if you're just looking at it blindly, you say, oh yeah, well that, and then all of a sudden you've got too many teams losing too many games. It's like, are 4 teams going to have 14 wins? Like, no. My point being, I'm going to be in, but kind of begrudgingly so, because I think there could be 4 teams. If I'm talking Dolphins, Jets, Cardinals, Browns, and maybe the Raiders. So, yeah, I'll be in, though. I'll be in.
I think one of the I think the Cleveland Browns stumble into 5 wins. And now when I say stumble into, that's ridiculous to say.
Well, that division is so they'll beat the Steelers one game. The Bengals will lose one of the games of the Browns. And then all of a sudden you've already taken 2 divisional matchups. Yeah, I could see it, I guess.
The Browns are terrible. However, there are some bright spots on that roster outside of quarterback. That's going to be pathetic to watch. However, I like a lot of what they did this offseason, particularly in the draft. It's just, we'll see how she goes. But for me, I my Dolphins, it's going to be a tough year. Off to number 3 here. The Jays, I'm saying they're going to make one surprise deal. Whether that's trading out a Louis Varland, an early Clement, whether that's even shocking the world and somehow being like a buyer and a seller at the same time. I'm saying they're going to make one surprise deal.
Oh, okay. No, I'm going to be out because I think they will surprise us, but by not doing a deal. I like because you and I are on the same page here, Donovan. I don't know if we have the same optimism that Mike Wilner did, where he's like, well, they only need to win the next 2 games, and all of a sudden they're, still like they're still, as of right now, they're only 5 games out of a wild card spot. The season has shrunk a lot, right? We're at the end of July.
Yep.
But still, the AL is an absolute dumpster fire. To me, it's more likely, just based on my perception of Atkins and Shapiro's style, it's more likely they hold on to Bieber or Gausman and don't just sell every obvious piece they have. They're more likely to do that than they are to all of a sudden trade away a prized possession like Louis Varland. I know Ernie Clement is in the same category, but he means a lot to this team, obviously, right? And so if we just use those, so and so if we're talking the obvious names of Gausman, Bieber, Varsho, Hoffman, and Springer, right, is the most likely candidates to be traded. I think it's more likely we will see one of them held on to. And like willingly so, not because nobody was interested, but because the Jays are like, we're kind of still in this. Let's not totally, bang the cupboard bare.
If you had to pick one of those guys, the surprise hang on to, who is it?
Kevin Gausman.
I was going to say the same.
And
because Kevin doesn't want to go.
I don't think he wants to be traded. And the Jays will say, listen, man, you've been unreal for us. You've lived up to every penny of this contract. And now we're getting the first year of the next wave of that in the Dylan Cease deal. It's a pretty good trend. You got to give him a little bit credit on that front.
Off to number 4. Obviously, we went out to St. Louis earlier in the show as well with Andy Strickland. To me, the Blues, they are the most average, or as the kids say, mid roster in the NHL.
Would you say their roster is 6'7"?
No.
Our new intern just came in the studio. He's a bit younger. Connor, how old's Connor?
22.
Yeah, that's pretty young. You say that stuff, Connor? You do the 6'7" thing?
I do it like ironically, but I've never done it like seriously.
Be careful with that. I started saying yeet ironically when that was popular, and now I'm 31 years old and I can't stop. So it's just entrenched itself in me. Donovan,
slippery slope.
It's really slippery. Donovan, I'm out on this. I like the Blues. I like them a lot, actually. Now, it's a tough division. Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Utah, all finishing ahead of them. Do we expect Winnipeg to have a bounce back here? Is Chicago going to be better? Like, I think Nashville's the last place team in this division with a bullet.
Really? You expect them to be worse than Chicago?
I do. I still don't think Chicago's a playoff team in their current construction, but I expect them to play meaningful games in the back half of the season. So if I'm talking the most mid roster, I'm sorry, it's the LA Kings. It's 100% the LA Kings. This is just the most mid team and has been for several years consecutive. Make the playoffs, lose in the first round. Make the playoffs, lose in the first round. What's a better definition of mid or average than that?
See, I can't disagree more. I look at that Kings roster and I think that is...
You think it's just bad?
No. I don't think it's bad at all.
Oh,
I look at... They have Artemi freaking Panarin and Adrian Kempe and Kevin Fiala. Like, look at this Blues roster outside of Robert Thomas and tell me, will one player score more than 60 points outside of Robert Thomas?
Yeah.
Who?
Dylan Holloway.
Will he stay healthy?
And honestly, this year with what we saw in the back half of last year, I think Jimmy Snuggerud is over a 60-point guy as well.
See, I like Jimmy Snuggerud a ton, and I like Dylan Holloway, but he can't stay healthy. And I look at this roster, I'm like, I don't mind Connor McMichael. Mason McTavish, I'm not out on, but I don't get that personally. Like, that deal to me made no sense for the Blues.
The what one, sorry?
The McTavish deal. It made no sense.
Well, they needed a number 2 center.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's a flyer because what we saw from McTavish last year was a far cry from previous.
2 first-round picks?
They were 16th and 30th overall.
It is. That's fair. But I'm actually not a big Mason McTavish believer personally.
I think he will be a big benefactor, of the a fresh start cliche.
Yeah. I look at this blue line and I think it just screams mid.
I like the blue line a lot.
I like Broberg. I like Parayko. Cam Fowler's fine at this point.
Don't ever say a bad word about Cam Fowler in front of me.
Brandon Carlo is maybe the most mediocre defenseman in the NHL. Kind of doesn't do anything well. Like, I don't know. I look at this Blues team, and for me, it's them or Nashville. They are the two most like directionless teams I look at.
You think Nashville's roster is average?
Well, look, they had the same amount of points last year.
Maverick Bourque is the team's number one centerman.
No, it's Ryan O'Reilly.
Well, depends how you look at it.
I look at Nashville and St. Louis as the same team. One's just slightly younger. They just both have rosters that aren't good enough to make the playoffs and bad enough to be picking right in the middle of the first round.
We should keep better track of things like this that we pretty staunchly disagree on, so then we can revisit them down the line. Because in the moment, it's all just yada, and there's some things we don't need to keep track of everything. But this is something that you seem pretty hard lined on, and I'm not in agreement with.
It's a team that I like a lot of players on. It's the same with Nashville. I like a lot of players, or the Seattle Kraken. I like a lot of players on all those rosters, but I look at them and say, man, is that good enough? Probably not. Like if Robert Thomas, I love that. I love Robert Thomas. We're in the same boat. One of easily the most underrated players in the league. But man, like after Robert Thomas, I'm just like, is anybody on this team on, Stanley Cup contending top line? No. Is anybody on this team? Like, it's a lot of second and third line players.
We will see.
We will.
I'm gonna become the world's biggest Blues fan, just like I was the first year after the offer sheets when I just was watching them every night to try and prove myself correct and the Oilers wrong by letting Holloway and Broberg walk.
Off to number 5, of course, taking her in a more fun direction. It's National.
That wasn't fun.
Well, that was fun, but this is gonna get the people going. National Milk Chocolate Day. Okay, for me, the best chocolate bar is Mars.
So it's just collective. All chocolate bars.
All chocolate bars.
Okay.
It is the 1-1 off the chocolate bar draft board.
My dad would be in on this. He loves Mars bars, but he also loves Turkish Delight or Big Turk. Big Turk. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know if his taste in chocolate bars can be trusted to the full extent.
Big Turk, your dad knows ball.
I'm out on this. I like Mars bars. I like the complement of flavors, but I'm out. If I had to pick a number 1 chocolate bar, Duet.
Oh my God.
The knockoff dollar store brand Twix. Some say it's better than the actual Twix.
By some you mean you?
Those some people are me and Connor Halley and maybe Mackenzie. Our socials Mac, Big Mac, Country Mac. Yeah, Mars it would be low down my list actually. I love a Mr. Big.
Yeah.
Hershey's Cookies and Cream.
It's a classic.
Premier option. Yeah, Mars bar. I'd have a hard time saying Mars bar maybe crack the top 10.
Sometimes, Donovan, like when we have regular person conversations and not sports, I'm like, how are you real? Like
Mars bars are awesome.
That mother effer ain't real.
Yeah, he is not real.
We got a cool tour going on in the office.
Donovan, don't let things happening outside the room distract you.
Hey,
defend yourself here.
I thought Josh had a continued narrative going here.
But I'm out.
Of course.
Okay, well, it's your number 1.
It's a Twix bar. I've never had a
Twix
Duet
is
though.
awesome.
So I need
man, I'll get you
Twix
Duet.
is probably my number 2.
I'll get you Duet today.
Okay. But Mars bars suck.
No, Mars bars are awesome.
They don't suck, but they're maybe in my top 10. And if we're like getting really adventurous, like if we're putting in some variations, actually, you know what? I totally forgot. Probably it would go Duet, Hershey's Cookies and Cream, O. Henry. And if you get the O. Henry with the Reese's peanut butter in it, that probably jumps it to number 1. But I don't know if we're including like all deviations and variations.
Sure, why not?
So
I'm taking a Kit Kat bar over Mars.
Oh, for sure.
Kit Kats are awesome. Kit Kats
Like,
are easy in the top 10.
When you
But
buy your Halloween candy and you're buying like the boxes of the variety packs,
Kit Kats first to
you
go.
get the Hershey's one,
Mhm.
you get the Mars Candy Company one, and then the Nestle.
Yeah.
Nestle one, is that the last one, right?
Correct.
bang, Cody's on the right,
The Mars-
right train.
the Mars box-
number 1, Snickers number 2.
Yeah.
Let's go, Cody.
My point exactly. Mars isn't even the best in its own box.
No, he said Mars is number 1.
Oh, no, it's
Snickers
not.
is number 2.
Snickers is ahead
Cody's
of
a stud.
Snickers is ahead of Mars.
Cody gets it.
We want to hear from you.
You're not yourself when you're hungry.
1-833-401-1440. The texts are already flooding in. We want to hear your ideas of the best chocolate bars, Jays, who's being traded, who's not. Anything we covered in or out there, would love to have you weigh in on it. One more time, 1-833-401-1440. Good stuff, Donnie. It was you were a little skeptical of today's topics. You're like, it's kind of slow out there, but some good conversations
Also,
were had.
Sorry. You know you're right on a take when Triple C in a truck is in the exact opposite direction. He says Mars is probably the worst chocolate bar out there.
Donovan.
I know I'm right. That just reassured me.
That is verbatim what people say about you. They're like, if Donovan says this and I'm opposite, I am 100% right.
Hey, Team Dean, number 1 hater, go back and read it. I
Team
don't
Dean's
care.
text from earlier. They're going back to Donovan being sick and coming to work today. I think most people would appreciate Donovan staying home even when he's healthy.
Hey, Team Dean, probably my number 1 hater at this point. It's I think it's well archived. You could go back and read some of the texts as well. But yeah, hey, but Delta Valley Jeff, 100% Mars is number 1. This is
you learned from the best. Kevin Carey's just only read the text messages that agree with what you're saying.
Exactly.
Leave the rest of them unread, green in the inbox. Let's get to a Sports 1440 update. We can talk more about this when we get to the other side, top of the hour, which we're already past as per usual. We'll hear from Cam Tate, Cam and Eggs, and the con man, Connor Halley from the Frenzy and the Jason Greger Show will be in at 10:20. But first, Sports 1440 update brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly, 780-265-0165. Here is Donovan Paulson.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
On the diamond tonight, the Jays back in action against the Nats. First pitch flying at 4:45. Once again, Shane Bieber on the bump for the Bluebirds. Cade Cavalli on for Washington. The Rays host the Rangers. The Orioles battle the Tigers. The Yankees are in Chicago to take on the White Sox. And the Cards tussle with the Cubbies. Football news, the Vikings signing former All-Pro Jamal Adams. Adrian Peterson going into the Vikings Ring of Honor with a game dedicated to him. And Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Bucks. Coming up, it's hour 3 of the Tom Gazzola Show. I'm Donovan Paulson. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Need an excuse to upgrade your ride? Well, we got a few to share. Go Auto has over 18,000 new and used vehicles ready to test drive right now. With more than 70 locations, your perfect match could be closer than you think. A family-friendly SUV for soccer practice, a fuel-sipping commuter, or a hardworking truck that's ready for anything. Trusted brands and a team that's actually happy to help. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Kickoff is coming August 1st. Elks, Rough Riders at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The prehistoric party is back, presented by Purolator Tackle Hunger. Experience family-friendly fun all game long with the dinosaur-themed contest. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
So you're dying from the heat, sweat dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repair. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Can't spell legacy without AC.
Legacy Heating and Cooling's got a guy who's really good at fixing broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Does your bank do local? We do.
When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
It's after 10 o'clock. Welcome back into the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick, Donovan Paulson, and Connor the intern, all in studio. Young Connor, 22 years spry, learning the ropes from old Fenny Fenwick back there. Hopefully not learning too much from Donovan, because I'm sure he wants a future in the industry. The show presented, as always, by Bet365. Check out Bet365's early payout for baseball. When your team goes up by 5 runs, you get paid out immediately. No stress about blowing a big lead. Download the app and see what early payouts all about at Bet365. Text line flooded with chocolate bar conversations. We'll buzz through a handful of these in short order, and then we'll get to hearing from Cam Tate in a quick little segment before Connor Halley joins us in studio. Triple C in a truck. Mars Bar is probably the worst chocolate bar out there. Scott, Snickers with Wonder Bar, a close second. Cat Dad, Mr. Big, now the same size as all the other chocolate bars. It's the St. Louis Blues of chocolate bars. But Cat Dad, if you're like kind of going in the direction of like a shrinkflation, if the Mr. Big has shrunk, everything else has shrunk too. So is it still not bigger than everything else? I don't know the answer to that. I'm interested in investigating. I might have to do a chocolate bar deep dive. Cody, Mars number 1, Snickers number 2. Duff in the States, they have a chocolate bar called 100 Grand. It's awesome. I've heard of that. Never had it. Does it have peanuts in it? I love peanuts in a chocolate bar, if you couldn't tell by some of my other top selections. Tom in Calgary, keep dreaming, guys. Jays may be 5 games out of a wildcard spot, but have to leapfrog 5 teams. Their offense is offensive. Their defense is terrible, and starting pitching outside of Cease is pathetic. I'll also question their training and medical staff. Tom O'Connor in Calgary. Well, Tom, listen, you're preaching to the choir. Donovan and I said that they're dead in the water. They're not a playoff team. We recognize that. But it was Mike Wilner's point that because they are still 5 games today, you find a way to sweep the series in Washington, which is something they have rarely been able to do this season, sweep any series, then it's like, yeah, maybe you jump past a couple more teams. So Mike's point, to me, at least, Donovan, was that the Jays management might be cautious, I guess, about selling before, like they want to wait until the last possible moment to get a clear picture of what this team is.
Yeah, that was his point, right? They still don't fully know if they're dead in the water or not, which, listen, we both think they're dead. But if you're Jays management, if you're any management staff of any team ever, if you're in this situation, you're going to wait till the last possible second, because truth be told, like, this is still pretty much the same team that went to the World Series last year. Now, granted, there are some pretty notable subtractions, but you still want to give this team every possible opportunity. And so I understand that viewpoint. Personally, I don't think this team's any good. So I would be selling. But hey, you know what? If they get faked out by the Jays going and winning 2 games in a row or whatever, or 3 games in a row, and suddenly getting themselves back into the mix, then hey, that's on the Jays front office, and I'm going to continue to rag on them because I don't think they're particularly good at their jobs. But
Kyle texting in, those Reese's sticks are bomb, which I think is good.
Reese's sticks?
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
Might have to try that.
Delta Valley Jeff, 100% Mars bar is number 1. Dan's Law, Mars is terrible. Oil Commander, Mirage chocolate bars are awesome. That is maybe one of the few chocolate bars I'm not sure I've ever had. I know the wrapper. I recognize it. I don't think I've ever had it, though, which is rare for me. Eat More rocks big time from Sam. Plumber Topher. Guys, all about the Big Turk all day long. Oh, Topher. My goodness. What happened to you? What happened in your life? My dad loves Big Turks, and I've tried them so many, like at different phases of my life, thinking maybe I'll come around on them. They're disgusting. And then, pair that up with Tiger's text, Cherry Blossom. You pointed this out, Josh. We've had this discussion on the show before with Kevin Carrius. And naturally, Kevin, like the senior citizen he is, he loves cherry blossoms. Same guy when you get like a box of chocolates, like a pot of gold or whatever, and there's those ones with like the fruit and stuff inside them. Blech. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Slurpee Sean, Twix is number 1. It's the only one with the cookie crunch. This is what we know. It's so clearly distinguishable. George Costanza even knows it.
I looked up the 100 grand bar for you.
Okay.
No peanuts.
Oh.
It's got rice crunch though.
Oh, so like a crunch
bar.
bar. Yeah, I can like that in the rotation.
That'd be
Milk
good.
chocolate, chewy caramel, and crispy rice crunch.
The Rig, Big Turk, and Score are my favorites. I like Score more as a topping than an actual chocolate bar.
I'd agree.
Frozen Mars bar is pretty damn good. Derek says Mirage as well. Payday all day, every day from Vance Van Vandervan. Wow, what a mouthful that combination of texture and text was. Mars is the worst. Bruceter, Big Turks are the bomb. Crunch is a solid third now that y'all mention it. Good texts. Lots of them. Oh, and then, Cousin Nails Arrow bar. Excellent choice as well. Not the mint, though. Not the Arrow mint.
Arrow is a classic.
I'd take Arrow mint over a classic Arrow bar.
Well, that's where we stand
wild.
apart. Let's not delay any further. Cam Tate, again absent from the studio this morning. When Tom was here, Cam was in here at 7 o'clock every day. I am taking it as a personal slight. But Tater has still cooked up a fresh batch of Cam and eggs for us today. Let's get to it.
I don't know why, but I want Kevin Gausman to be a Blue Jay forever. Forever. Put it in writing. Put it in law. Put it in the Constitution. Right after the part about the Queen. The man wears number 34 to honor Roy Halladay. He strikes out everybody and their dentist. And Toronto wants to trade him for what? Prospects? Prospects are just rumors with batting gloves. So here's my plan. Tonight, I sneak into Rogers Center with a paint can. Gausman, Wall of Honor, big letters. Can't trade a guy whose name is on the wall. That's just science. Security, I'll go quietly. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Gausman, Baltimore, Atlanta, San Francisco, Toronto. This guy's been traded more than Canadian Tire money. The Jays signed him in 2022 for $110 million. That's American dollars, folks. In Canadian, that's a house in Vancouver, a small one. He wears 34 for Roy Halladay, his idol. I had an idol too, Colonel Sanders. Different career path. His splitter drops so hard, the catcher files a missing pitch report. World Series, Game 2, retired 17 straight Dodgers. The last time 17 people in LA sat down that fast, a Pilates studio opened. Trade him? Please. That's like trading your snowblower in Edmonton in January. Gausman. We'll be right back. But then, about an hour ago, right here, on the Big Sports 14 to 40, Brandon had Mike Wilner on, Toronto Star Scribe. The man's covered more Jays games than the tarp. And Wilner said, if the chips fall just the right way, you understand, the Jays could be 2 games out of a wild card spot. 2 games. Folks, I've waited longer than that for a Tim Hortons drive-thru. And you want to go into that go-around without Kevin Gausman? No, you don't. Because hope is a funny thing. It shows up when the math says it shouldn't. And so does an ace. Keep him. There you go, buddy. I'm Cam Tate. and that's Cam and Eggs.
I think the price for him rockets up because his slow recovery, like his first few times out where it was not as good, you can put that on back from injury, getting into the groove of things. There's more of a justification to it. Whereas Goslin's just been doing what he does, go out there every fifth day and pitches what off. Not always to the best results, but he's reliable. So what are you going to get in a return for Gausman? Are you getting some top tier prospect like Donovan and I talked about yesterday, like a top 100 guy? Man, I think a team would need to be getting pretty desperate. So are you better to sell Bieber, do the best you can there, probably sell Varsho, Hoffman, maybe find a taker for Springer, although I think that might be unlikely. Like, is the return for Gausman worth it? And in baseball, it seems the answer to that is always yes, right? Am I out of line, Donovan? Baseball's trade deadline compared to the other four major sports, most active, and also it is just a foregone conclusion. If that guy's on an expiring contract and you're not a playoff team, see you later. Good night, Irene. Like it is inevitable that those guys get traded. And a lot of the time, since we're not talking draft picks and stuff, just prospects and players, the return is almost always underwhelming, with rare exception.
Well, it just depends, right? Like guys on expiring contracts in baseball aren't worth as much as they are in other sports. I don't know why that is, but for the general consensus and the general idea is if you've got the expiring guy, you're not usually going to get a top 100 prospect. Like you're never going to get one of these elite guys that you see sometimes get dealt at the NHL's deadline. Or I think in respect to what the Jays could potentially find themselves getting, the thing that is going for them is they do have proven playoff performers. And Kevin Gausman is a proven playoff guy. And like we all expect, I think, the Dodgers to go out and get Tariq Skubal. And we all expect that Minnie's going to trade Joe Ryan. But after Joe Ryan and Tariq Skubal, Kevin Gausman is number 3.
Yeah.
Kevin Gausman is an easy number 3. Unless the Tigers trade Casey Mize, which in that case you could maybe say number 4. But like every team wants starting pitching. The Jays are going to get a nice package for Kevin Gausman. Make no mistake.
When we return, Connor Halley will be in studio. We'll talk some Elks. We'll talk some NFL, the training camps. What can we expect from the Chargers? Our resident expert will enlighten us on that and a few potpourri topics. Maybe we'll talk chocolate bars with the con man as well. It's Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440, brought to you by Bet365. Watch the show. We're streaming it on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout for Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
Must be 18 or older. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. T's and C's apply.
Okay, new strategy. I'll just live in the freezer till October. It's spacious in here. It's spacious.
There's a better way to survive the coming AC season. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. We offer convenient financing options and fast appointments so you can enjoy your entire home, not just the freezer.
Now I can leave the frozen peas where they belong.
Book now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Are you a skilled laborer? All Star Construction wants to talk to you.
A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
Thinking of growing your business? In partnership with Prairie's Can, the Alberta Chambers of Commerce is helping businesses explore new opportunities, new markets, and build connections through organized trade missions across Canada. Find the right mission for you at abchamber.ca/trade missions.
Don't let rookies scratch your custom wheels. Evolve Wheels and Tires uses premium touchless equipment designed to protect your wheel and tire investment. Trust the enthusiasts at Evolve Wheels and Tires, Edmonton's premium wheel specialists. Evolve your ride. Evolve your experience.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
$10:25. Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brought to you by Bet365. Brandon Douglas in for Tommy G this week. Donovan Paulson on the ones and twos. Josh Fenwick keeping us on track online with all of our streaming options. YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. We got Connor the intern. Learn the ropes back there as well. And then we got Connor the experienced. Connor the greater.
Connor the old.
Connor the old. Don't take any offense to it, Cons, because Speck and I, he told me I was welcomed into the old man club because I choose to park far away from the door.
It is an old man thing to do.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we could, have you heard on do you remember The Simpsons? You guys,
I've watched.
And Homer had a great line once. The kids can call you Hoju, Homer Jr.
Oh,
and the kids can call him Koju if they want.
Right.
Connor Jr.
Connor Jr.
Yeah.
You're Connor Sr.
I'm Connor Sr.
Connor Halley, The Frenzy, Jason Gregor Show. You hear him every day here from 11 to 12 and then 2 to 6 on Sports 1440. Connor, you came into the studio with some, I don't know if it considered breaking news, but it was to me because surprisingly this not on my timeline when checking Twitter throughout the show. And it's pretty pertinent to the LA Chargers and their franchise cornerstone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they say it a lot, whether you believe in happy wife, happy life, happy spouse, happy house. Oh, yeah, I do. I think happy spouse, happy house.
So
try to keep her happy. But yeah, Justin Herbert proposing to Madison Beer, international recording artist.
And she said yes?
And she said yes.
Oh,
it's on
good.
Instagram. I'm like, how do I get into this wedding? What do I have to do to
Well, I wonder if their guest list will be as big as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's. Because if so, I like your chances of getting in. Dean Blandino was at that wedding.
That's a weird one.
That was pretty funny, actually, to me.
But like Colaros had to miss it because he was playing football.
And only to get banged up a week later and out for the season.
They got to schedule the bye week. Like, that's a pretty big wedding.
Can I just say, Private Eyes, very fitting song for the intro, considering Connor's.
Is that by Madison Beer?
No, but Connor's basically stalking them. Right?
It's on Instagram,
on Instagram.
Donovan. He's not the paparazzi in the bushes with the telephoto lenses. He's just reading the news as it comes out.
All I'm really doing is looking at her Instagram page, which 39.4 million people do.
Yeah, and you know who's probably one of them? Donovan.
I have never looked at her Instagram in my life.
Let's check that out. Let's see if you're following. That would be funny if he was.
Definitely not.
Drake follows her.
That seems like good.
Justin Bieber, Cameron Dicker, a lot of Chargers.
Well, yeah, she's part of the family.
She's part of the family now. Old intern Kate, follows her. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot
Shout
of
out
us,
Kate the Great.
a lot of us that follow Madison Beer. Summer McIntosh follows her.
Well,
So-
I'm excited for you, Connor. This is
Yeah.
big news. And Herbert kind of, I think, wanting in some capacity to follow in the footsteps of Josh Allen, where you get yourself a pop star, celebrity girlfriend.
Yeah.
Now make them their wife.
Did you have a little Borat twang there?
My wife. I can't help it. And hopefully this turns into MVP season for Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
The if man.
Well, he's got to drop that label, right? He's got to step up and play a little bit better.
And you have a lot of confidence in that for a number of facets. Number one being the O-line actually being filled with NFL players.
Finally.
And starter caliber ones at that. Very good ones, as a matter of fact. And Mike McDaniel coming in as the new OC.
Yeah.
You're pretty heady about that add to the coaching staff too.
Yeah, I mean, for the Chargers, the same as always. It's going to be staying healthy and finding ways to do that. And if you keep the tackles healthy, that's going to go a long way. They brought in Biotis from Washington, who he's an upgrade. It's comedy when you go back and look at the Chargers' offensive line, their PFF rankings from Sunday Night Football, and it's like somehow they're 33 out of 32. Like they're just notoriously bad. And they've upgraded all the positions there. And even Strange out of from Miami. That's a guy that McDaniel had last year. Granted, he went viral for the Rams laughing at his draft position when the Patriots took him in the first round. But heck, I looked at their offensive line. It's a lot of 4th and 5th rounders as well. So they can pan out eventually. But I thought it was a pretty good offseason. And yeah, McDaniel's good to see. I will say, like, I've been hyping up him through the air because what he was doing with Waddle and Tyreek Hill and Tua
exciting
over the last few years, but he's a run game guy too. So he's going to get the run game going. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. And I tweeted it out there. Herbert's picking up rings this year. Plural.
Several.
Or this season. Next
But-
2 years.
But isn't like you need an engagement ring and then you also need a wedding ring?
For the bride, yeah.
So that alone could be plural without getting the football in.
She'll get 2 rings. He'll get 1 for the wedding. Men don't wear engagement rings.
Probably.
I guess the proposer doesn't wear 2 rings.
Oh, okay. That makes
the
sense.
proposee would get an engagement ring and a wedding ring.
This is all good information for me.
For the
to,
future.
To tuck aside and hopefully use at some point or another. As Connor Halley from the Frenzy and the Jason Greger Show guesting with us here on the Tom Gazzola Show. Brendan Douglas sitting in for Tommy G this week. So, Connor, we've been kind of starting to work our way through our NFL previews here on the morning show. And we stopped in Arizona today, our final pit stop in the NFC West.
Nice.
And it's a good division. Cardinals, probably not going to be among them. But in the NFC South, some news this morning that Vita Vea, contract negotiations kind of stalling out. He wants to play elsewhere now.
Yeah, and Ted Newman out of The Athletic had to report Vegas or California.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Because when you think of Vita Vea, I mean, to me, he's kind of synonymous with Tampa Bay and just an absolute beast. He kind of defies our understanding of what a premier athlete should be because of his size and his mass. But, man, he can move well. He's still a very high caliber player up at the front. Do you combined with Newman's reporting and maybe your own inclination, do you think there's a best landing spot for him?
Yeah, well, I mean, geez, the LA Chargers are, for me, come to mind. They have quite a few defensive tackles, and you probably want a player back. So maybe they have a player. I mean, I really like the feature of Jamari Caldwell the Chargers have. Drafted him a couple of years ago. Maybe you could send him back. Still a young player, though. I don't know, what Tampa's going to be expecting. The Rams are the scariest thought, aren't they, to pair them up with all that they've been building?
How would it even be possible?
I don't know.
Stuff like this, frankly, even the Rams, like they get McDuffie.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, that's a good get. And then fast forward, they get Myles Garrett. They just repaid Matt Stafford last year. Is the salary cap in the NFL real? I'm not convinced it is. How is this possible?
That's what, Pat McAfee was banging that drum for years. It's not real. You just push it down the line.
Yeah,
the Rams
just kick the can down the road. And
how much? They have $15 million in cap space. So they probably could make it work. You release a player here, you renegotiate a contract. The Niners have a ton of cap space right now. I think that must be with Brandon Ayuk not being on the cap.
so.
They have $71 million. So if you're buying San Francisco, hey, Mike Evans is there. That's in California. that could work. Vegas to me makes no sense. I mean, Vegas is in a rebuild mode. I don't know why you'd bring in a 31-year-old player on an expiring contract. Not to poke fun at the Raiders, but maybe they would. Like maybe that's a move they would make.
Classic Raiders.
Just because it makes no sense. But yeah, I mean, all those California teams, I'm looking at them and I'm like, I could make an argument for all of them. The Rams would be a super team, and I don't know if the Bucks would want to build that. The 49ers are a damn good team as well. Do you really want to help them when you could potentially be going up against them for a wild card spot if you're the Bucks? That would leave the lone AFC team being the LA Chargers, who do have $40 million in cap space. I believe he grew up in the LA area. He is from California. It would make sense. It would be an upgrade. It would be a move to show the team, the fan base, that you are going for it this year. You're in a tough division. You got to find a way to not only get to Bo Nix, but slow down the run against all those AFC West quarterbacks. So I would not dislike it. The cost would be interesting, but I'd be all on board for that one. And I was looking at it like, you go from Florida, where you pay no state tax, to going to the most taxed 13 point something percent, I believe, in California. That's interesting. So he clearly wants to get out. He wants to go be closer to home. Do it, Tampa. Maybe get a friendly deal.
And like sticking with Tampa Bay, just, you know, for the sake of continuity here, like also the reports about Baker Mayfield. And, you know, he wants a new deal put in place too, and really not much progress on that front either. There no progress anyway, with Jeremy Fowler and Jenna Lane reporting that too. So I like Tampa Bay, and you know what, you and I have talked ad nauseum about this NFC South division and how flip a coin and any team could win it this year.
Mm-hmm.
I still have to think that going into it, yes, they lost Mike Evans, but did they shore up some other spots to you know compensate for it? That they would be my favorite to open the year, even though the Panthers kind of snuck their way into winning it at the end of last season, and the Falcons always seemingly hanging around. Like the Bucks would be my betting favorite.
Yeah, and the Bucks, like, they do have a lot of nice young talent. Now, if you were to move on from Vita Vea, that's $22 million against the cap. Obviously, it's something you don't have to worry about in the offseason, so maybe that could open up extension talks for Baker Mayfield. A little money to work with, but they got a lot of nice young players there as well. The coaching staff, I have questions about. Like, you know, how good can it be? With all due respect, I still kind of like the upside of the other teams. And I just think the Carolina Panthers had the most upside. Going out there, adding to their defense like they did, bringing in Jalen Phillips, and then, what's his name from the old, was it the Jags? They brought in the linebacker. I like what they've done. So I'm still leaning that way for the Carolina Panthers. But like you said, toss a coin. It could go anyway.
So at Bet365 right now, the Buccaneers are favored plus 175, Saints plus 260, Panthers plus 300, and the Falcons plus 375, which I have to think is entirely because of their quarterback situation.
Devin Lloyd was a linebacker.
Devin Lloyd, right.
Panthers are third. Yeah. The Saints are second with Tyler Shuck.
People are in on Shuck. They want to get shucked up.
I mean, I like their receivers. Taysom Hill's a threat.
Utility.
You got a couple, well, I don't know what Alvin Kamara is going to be this year.
I am a little surprised to see the Saints up that high. I think that people are buying it, like trying to cash in on the Shuck wagon before it fully leaves the station. And I'm not convinced the rest of the roster is quite there. Like, he impressed me last year, no doubt about it, especially down the stretch of the season. But they still were the last place team last year, were they not?
Yeah. Well, they were just not very good. And like, I don't know. Like, and was that just low expectations? Like, I thought Shuck was okay, but you had the bar set pretty low by Spencer Rattler for what they did.
Who still, I think, in like he was a starter for back half and then a first half ish of a season, did not get a win.
Yeah,
I think, right?
Just wasn't very good. I am interested to see the usage for Kamara and Achan. Travis Achan.
Not Devon Achan or Achan. It's essentially just like Etienne, but with the southern accent. Etchen.
The offensive line, I don't mind. Like, they brought in Noah Fant at the tight end position.
They've put some capital into the O-line, like draft capital recently, right? Because did they not take Kelvin Banks a couple years ago? Am I mixing that up with someone?
Last year was their first round pick. They got a couple of former first round picks, brought in David Edwards from Buffalo. Camaraderie is strong on this team. On the defense, it looks like they just have one new starter.
Okay.
Is that a good thing?
Results from last year tell probably not, but TBD maybe on that.
Drafted Christian Miller. I think people liked him in the draft this year. So yeah, I invested a little bit into their defense. I don't know. If I was a betting man and for fun, maybe you throw a little bit down on that, but it could go in so many different ways.
Like I'd be more inclined to take the slightly longer odds and float something on the Falcons.
Yeah.
And like the talent, like they're almost the inverse of the Saints, where they have so much talent at other positions, but their quarterback play is so suspect. Whereas the Saints, like, we think we got our quarterback. It's like, okay, but everything else is not that great. And you're right. They have a couple good receivers for sure.
If Chris Olave stays healthy, but he seems to be like a magnet for hospital balls.
Yeah.
Jordan Tyson, what was the knock on him out of the draft? Injuries. Like it could go good if everything, everyone stays healthy. It could work out well. But man, what if Shuck goes down with injury? What if all of a sudden you're with Spencer Rattler and Olave goes down in this hypothetical? It could go downhill quick. So yeah, I don't know. That division is just a mess to me. But I'm rolling with the Panthers this year. I'm going all in on Bryce Young to continue to ascend as an NFL quarterback.
Last one for you, Connor Halley from the Frenzy and the Jason Greger Show, where we check in on what's coming up on those programs today. Wanted to touch on a little bit of Double E with you, some Elk stuff. One of our conversations throughout the morning has been about Saturday's game and the idea of opening the upper bowl. There's a couple extenuating things that can be a factor here. But to me, unless it's sold out by like Thursday at the latest, don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you want to leave yourself some walk-up ticket space, but I think there's something about like keeping everyone confined to the lower bowl, like mandatorily, and having it look sold out, be sold out, and having, generate that little bit more buzz and excitement around the team heading into, well, obviously the rest of the home game schedule, but then a little bit more down the line, the Labor Day rematch. There's that much buzz. Are we opening the upper bowl and seeing 40,000 plus people here?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly get that, and I think a lot of people have been on board for that one. It's always tough there because like you could have a sellout, but there's so many people in the concourse walking on the sides. It's hard to say for sure. I wonder, and it's a business. You don't want to be turning away money, although you do want to generate that buzz. Could you open up one section in the upper level?
And that's what some people have said. And then my only pushback on it is, as soon as you open one section, unless you sell it out too, then all these people that want to go back and sit up there, they'll just flow. And so you'll have a full section up there, and then the rest of the bottom still looks sparse.
Yeah.
Again.
I mean,
and so it's a matter of like, do you care about the optics or do you care about getting as many people in there as possible? Because I think you're probably going to end up with the same number of people regardless.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like, okay, we're opening upper section Y. We're going to put 3 security guards up there to make sure everyone stays in there.
Staunch on it.
And we're not sitting up higher than you are. You're sitting in your seat. We're checking your tickets. We're going to make sure of this. And then because I think, do you want people trying to buy tickets and not get them? Ugh, I'd rather be at this game instead of watching at home. I don't think training people
got to be there for the next one though.
That maybe. Or maybe you're like,
or maybe you're like,
they rejected me.
They're like, what the hell? They haven't anybody there and they're turning me away.
Yeah.
There's totally, and I'm willing to admit there's a lot of different elements to it that factor in, including like how this week and how ticket sales progress throughout the week too. So
100%.
I'm very interested to see how it plays out. What do you got coming up on the Frenzy with all these jabronis and then the Greger Show starting at 2:00?
Today we're going to do 3 rounds, Josh Fenwick. So I don't know what the questions are going to be. We have Joe Reedy out of Cincinnati joining us. Formerly covered the Chargers. So we'll talk about the Bengals. And they have, I believe, the second easiest schedule on paper this year. You get the Browns a couple times. That can be pretty beneficial. Then on the Greger Show today, well, we're kind of piecing it together. Of course, we're going to go to Toronto. We'll talk to Dave McCarthy. He was at Zach Hyman's golf tournament yesterday. We played some of the audio. It was hilarious because golf carts kept going by. Like, it wasn't the best, but that's going to happen at a golf tournament. So we'll get his thoughts on what McDavid, Draisaitl, and Zach Hyman had to say. We've got Spec, 5 questions, Cam Tate, stats of the day, roundtable, and kind of do some NFL, probably do some CFL as well.
Very exciting.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you as always. Good to chat with you. We're kind of ships passing in the night this week because the people can't handle another full hour of me on the Frenzy. So instead I depart and just wait for you out at the bar.
Well,
the mall walk.
Maybe tomorrow for the rest of the week, you'll do Frenzy, because then I'll do Frenzy and then I'll do Greger's Show. And then we'll only have 2 hours without us on Sports 1440 in the day.
The general feedback I've gotten about Sports 1440 and coming up with 3 years is that we need more Brandon and Connor.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time. It's inevitable.
It doesn't show in the numbers, but it's what the streets are saying.
Yeah, but this is an eye test thing compared to an analytics thing.
Yeah.
Cons, thanks. Have a good shows today, and we'll chat with you later.
Thanks, Duke.
Connor Halley, The Frenzy, Jason Gregor's show, every day here on Sports 1440. Also the host of Edmonton Elks watch parties for their road games. So they're going to be away for a week and then back, but you can always check in with Cons to see where he's going to be, different bars all around the city. And it's a fun environment. We've talked about this buzz that's coming back with the team. That has translated over to the road games and these watch parties that Connor hosts too. I've seen it. I've been at them. It's pretty palpable. Good times for the local football club. Text lines 1-833-414-1440. You can get them in, and we will wrap up the show next with catching up on some of those texts and also a few potpourri topics, Commonwealth Games, Riverhawks in action, all that jazz, and a little bit more to send you into the frenzy at 11 o'clock. Brandon Douglas sitting in on the Tom Gazzola Show this week. Josh Fenwick, Donovan Paulson, and Connor, the intern, all in studio as well. The show is brought to you by Bet365.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country. For all your welding supplies, think AWS Welding. Located in Nisku, their readily stocked storefront carries a wide variety of welding glasses, cylinder rentals, plus welding rod, wire, and consumables. Same-day delivery is always available. And if they don't have it, AWS Welding will find it for you fast. Visit their online store today at awswelding.ca or give them a call or text at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. They make it happen.
Mr. Rooter has deja vu. Mr. Rooter has deja vu.
The bathroom is right over there, Mr. Rooter.
Thank you, good sir. Wait, I swear I've plunged this toilet before. It was clogged with a snow globe. Am I living in a time loop? Oh, good. It's just a voodoo doll that looks exactly like me. Whew, what a relief.
For a plumbing experience you'll want to relive, call Mr. Rooter. Love Pro Wrestling. It's the only place you'll find lumberjacks, short kings, mad lads, and a high-flying goose. LPW 50, no regrets. Hits the Rec Room South Edmonton Comet Friday, July 31st. See LPW Grand Champion T.Y. Jackson face his toughest challenge. God's gift to wrestling, MRB. Whether it's a family outing, date night, or drinks with friends, check out Edmonton's wildest party at Love Pro Wrestling. Tickets available now at tixart.com/Love Wrestling.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Step into a night of pure pop magic with Arrival, Canada's ultimate tribute to ABBA, live October 9th at Pure Casino Yellowhead's Pearl Showroom. Experience a high-energy celebration of ABBA's biggest hits, brought to life by a world-class six-piece band featuring dazzling costumes, tight harmonies, and unforgettable stage energy. Tickets from just $44.99. Get yours now at Ticketmaster. Don't miss Arrival, Canada's ultimate tribute to ABBA, October 9th at Pure Casino. Pure entertainment, pure action, and pure imagination.
Not sure where to turn? Remember 211, the number to contact for mental health, addiction, and community supports. It's free, confidential, and available 24/7. 211 Alberta. One number, countless connections.
A message from the government of Alberta. Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus all. T's and C's apply.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Home stretch, the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for Tommy this week. Out and about, seeing some of the world, or at least Southern Alberta at the very least, as I believe Tom is spending his time off bettering others, helping out at some hockey camps and training programs and stuff like that with some of his friends and people he's crossed paths with over the years. So good on Tom. He'll be back on Tuesday. It's August long weekend, baby. Maybe you're going to BVJ. Love to get into that with some listeners as we tail into the week. BVJ. I've been a couple times myself. Excellent time. Not sure you could pay me to go back at my current age of 31 years old, but it was a hell of a lot of fun when I was 19, 18, something in that vein. Show's brought to you by Bet365. Canada just hit the biggest home run of the summer. Bet365 is available in Alberta and here to stay. Download the app. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. And if you were looking to get in on some action for today, full slate of baseball games. The Blue Jays taking on the Nats for game 2 of 3 in the American capital. Bieber on the hill. Shane Bieber, that is, of course, for Toronto. Cavalli countering for the Nats. Jays currently dogs. Plus 120 on the money line. Over under set at 8.5 in the game. I think the route here, Donovan, is, do you believe that Shane Bieber is continuing to build, or do we see a little bit of a step back in this progression in a very limited sample size this season?
I'm going to say he continues to build.
Yeah, I like the Jays here. I might sprinkle.
I will not sprinkle because I don't trust this team enough to sprinkle. But I do think that Shane Bieber is going to continue to get the wheels going here and finds himself on a new team come next Monday here. But yeah, like I like the Jays, but personally, I just can't trust this team with how lackluster their offense has been all year.
Lots of other stuff to check in on too. Guardians, Reds. That's a morning game. Is that a doubleheader today? It is doubleheader. Guardians and Reds will play 2 starters, Ciccone and Burns, respectively, for their clubs, and then Orioles, Tigers. How many more times will we see Tarek Skubal in a Tigers uniform? He might be going elsewhere. Phillies and Marlins. That's an interesting one. Nola up against Alcantara. That's pretty even odds for that game down in South Florida. And can the Marlins continue to build off of their Odyssey-fueled losing streak snapping win from yesterday? Text line is 1-833-401-1440. It has been quite active this morning, particularly about chocolate bars. Kevin, this is a great one. Crunchy bars are elite. Not to be confused with a Crunch bar, which is also pretty good. And that's the kind of rice chocolate waferish. I don't even know how to describe it, but solid. The Crunchy, it's like a thin layer of chocolate, and then just that yellow almost looks like insulation on the inside that is hard as a rock, but good. You know Crunchy bar, Donna? Yellow wrapper, blue writing?
Off the top of my head, I don't. Let me Google it. I don't remember.
Take a quick look and see if it
I
rings
do.
a bell.
Yes,
for
I
you.
do. Yes, I do. I've very rarely had them, but yeah, I do.
Okay. Some local action, just not locally played, but the local team, Edmonton Riverhawks, are on their final road trip of the regular season, and there is a lot to be determined inside the WCL second half standings. Riverhawks jostling for position. That sweep over Kelowna was huge this past weekend to wrap up their home schedule, but they will be in Kamloops tonight, 7:38. First pitch from Kamloops. They will play 3 there, wrapping up Thursday, and then head to Kelowna after that over the weekend. Edmonton Stingers, some games, final 2 games of the regular season, pair of home action later on this week, Friday and Sunday. Fellas, another good outing. We got young Connor the Lesser. Koju? Right, is that not to be confused with Koju?
I think I might just call him Connor Squared.
So you're just going to call them both the same name, Donovan?
No, it'll be Connor Original and then Connor Squared.
Connor Squared implies 2 Connors multiplied onto each other.
I know what it implies. However, I don't know. I like the sounds of Connor Squared.
Personal anecdote. I went to university, lived in a house with another guy named Brandon. So he was Brando. I was Dougie. And when we were together, out ripping the town, whatever the case, we were Brando Squared. Like, that was our team name. Do you see where I'm coming from here, Don?
I see where you're coming from. However, we can all choose to interpret nicknames in our own individual ways.
Tougher to do when there's mathematical implications and your formula doesn't really add up. But
it's about it being fun. How many nicknames did Carius have that made no sense?
All of them.
Exactly.
Chucker. Let's catch up with the Chucker here pretty soon. See how he's doing. No, fun show today, guys. Coming up on the station, it will be the Frenzy at the top of the hour, as we just discussed with Connor Halley. Joe Reedy covers the Bengals as the Frenzy continues its work through NFL previews in alphabetical fashion. And then they'll go 3 rounds with Josh Fenwick on that show as well. Noon to 2, the Lowdown with Low Tide, Alan Mitchell, Declan Kruger, Josh Fenwick. It is Tuesday, which means Sean Bell. New Tuesday staple for the LD with LT. Belsey, former NHLer, will pop in. And then the Jason Gregor Show, 2 to 6. Greg's, Conman, Declan, and a whole slate of regular guests, including Speck, Cam Tate, maybe DVD. Is he still on Tuesdays? Hard to say.
Off for the summer.
All right. Well, anyway, they'll have a full slate. They'll talk football. They'll talk baseball. They'll talk it all. And then once that's wrapped up, Toronto Blue Jays joined in progress. AM radio feed only. If you're listening online, you will get Fox Sports Radio, which will be overnight until we return tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock to do it all over again. Let's wrap things up with a final Sports 1440 update brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies in Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding, awswelding.ca. Have a great remainder of your Tuesday, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning into the program. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Here is Donovan Paulson.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Some breaking news out of the NHL about half an hour ago. Rogers and Amazon have reached a new 12-year agreement for Wednesday Night Hockey in Canada. Amazon will also get select playoff series in the first and second rounds. On the diamond, the Jays back in action against the Nats. First pitch flying at 4:45. Shane Bieber on the bump for the Bluebirds. Cade Cavalli going for Washington. The Rays host the Rangers. The Orioles battle the Tigers. The Yankees are in Chi-Town to take on the Sox. The Cards, they are tussling with the Cubbies. Some football news. Vikings signing former All-Pro Jamal Adams. Adrian Peterson going into the Vikings Ring of Honor. And Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Bucks. Coming up, it is the Frenzy without Mr. Douglas. I'm Donovan Paulson. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Watawa.